All right, here we are. Once again, it's Wednesday. We've survived thus far, fortunately. A lot of things happening. Just want to make sure that nobody on the panel so far right now has any salmonella poisoning going on, or E. coli, or anything like that. It looks like we're all healthy.
All right.
Looks like we're all healthy. I'm happy about that. So I sent a text in the group chat a week ago, 2 weeks ago, was it? I can't remember exactly.
This is all we over here.
Um,
Stephanie, are you good on the
but
screen?
Yeah.
but I was saying that if you eat a lot of beef, then would have been the time to have gotten it and kind of rack up on it and hide it a little bit.
Put it in your deep freezer.
Yeah, put it in the deep freezer. I knew what was coming. I felt it. I kind of predicted it. Tried to get out in front of it, and here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. And here we are again. So before we jump into it too far, let me check on the panel and see how everybody's doing. Of course, starting with Steph and Lynn. How has you all's week been so far?
Good. I got a Swedish fish in my mouth.
oh, sorry about that. I'm good for that.
Y'all want
Oh
one?
yeah, I love those. I love those.
Are you done?
Uh,
Go ahead.
Lynn, how about you?
So far so good. Next time we come on air next week, it will be
Yeah.
second day of Life Insurance Awareness Month. So
Ooh, all right.
we
Y'all
hit-
remember Fat Albert? All right, yay, man. That's right. All right, yay.
we hitting everybody. And I tell you what, we've been writing a handful of people in their 80s this month.
Is that right?
Yeah. 85, 80, 82. It's crazy.
So how does that work? Well, I would say we can wait till next week or a little bit after that because I want to do a check-in and go in depth with insurance, especially for insurance month, life insurance month. But how does that work for them? As a quick overview.
It's a simplified underwriting product called Final Expense Insurance. So it doesn't go into depth about your health, your medications, but you can still be declined. Everybody's not accepted.
Right.
But in a situation where someone is 85 and it's a woman, her life expectancy is 88 or 89. So the premium is expensive.
Yeah.
And with the men, yeah.
And, most men don't live into their 80s.
Oh goodness. You
So
mean to tell me I ain't got a full 40 plus years left? Let me tell Maya.
No, you do. He
I
just
said most.
Yeah.
I said
You know
most.
we the exception.
And listen, when I say most, my most is 51%. It's
Gotcha.
not a female. It's not a female most. Like with women, most men be cheating. No,
Yeah.
and their most is 99. Their most is 99%.
They're basing it on their own personal average. So
Their most, their most is 51%. My most is always a business most, which is 51%. Meaning, if you own 51% of the company, you are the principal owner. That's
Right.
how my most. That's my most percentage.
Okay.
I did want to highlight, since we're talking about octogenarians, R.I.P. Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
That was my boo thing.
Yeah. And it just so happens like the day before, they were highlighting her and they were saying she was just saying how that she's in good health and so on and so forth. And the very next day, good.
Yeah, she put out a video on Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. I was on the phone with Maya and we were talking about it, and the very next day was like, oh my God.
But she didn't look 8. She didn't look 70 nothing, so she sure didn't look 80. And I'm not just talking about her people. No.
Yeah.
No, but she was she was funny too, because she would always say they just look big because she's so tiny. But then it was who was that Conan O'Brien?
Yeah,
But
Conan
she's like,
O'Brien's
no,
like,
they just
big.
look big.
He's like, no, they big.
But yeah, I used to love her Christmas specials, and she just sing. And whenever I think about, I was telling Lynn this. I think about the Beverly Hillbillies, because you know where they came from. If you ever watched that show, that's who she is unapologetically. And even though she had money and stuff, she just loved people. And I followed her for a while, and I love Dolly Parton.
Look, I'll tell you what, the black community lost a good one.
Yeah.
Because she made $10+ million from that Whitney Houston when Whitney Houston redid her song.
Oh God, yeah.
She bought a whole strip mall in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she said, Whitney.
So she could be with our people.
Yep. That's what she said. She was
Since it was Whitney Houston money, she said she wanted to be with Whitney's people.
She said, which is also my people. And she was like, I love everybody. And she just had her own opinions about everything and anything. And it was always, she loved Jesus, and she was unapologetic about that. And she loved children, with her little not little, but with her library.
That thing, yeah.
It's huge. It's worldwide. It's not just, for the nation. And I love how she would make fun of herself. Like saying, who would have known it would be so expensive to make her look so trashy, because her parents always thought she looked like a hoe.
But you know what's funny about her is, she's country legacy, and one of the other female country legacy artists, Loretta Lynn. Yeah. Totally two different people.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to them carefully, and I'll stop there.
Oddly enough, I am so I got a class. It's the history of rock music, and I'm in the second week of it, and I'm going through the history of country western. What's country and western? And
bluegrass.
And bluegrass, and
he hates bluegrass.
I absolutely detest bluegrass.
Why do you hate bluegrass?
It doesn't make sense to me.
But the reason why I have a respect for it is because people always want to talk about country and western, but it actually came from bluegrass, and like bluegrass came from black folks.
Well, so I don't want to jump too far into it.
Okay.
Let me pull up some slides. But so the brief history of it is those genres of music, country and western, rockabilly, honky tonk, so on and so forth, they had strong influences from R&B, from blues, so on and so forth. But that wasn't until the 1950s, right, when it actually began to become popular. And then Elvis Presley jumping on stage and popularizing a different set of genre. But in the thralls of southwestern Texas and Oklahoma style western music, country music, that came from primarily British, and I can't think of the other group, but it came from fiddles, so on and so forth. And it was a mix of the British folks and other immigrants as they began to transform the Appalachian region and go from the quote unquote cultivated Eurocentric folk of that cloth into what we now know as the Appalachians, or the.
Yeah, but how do we know that those Brits, when they came over here, hadn't already been influenced by black music?
Oh, but see, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Go ahead.
Because even like the Louisiana and stuff, I don't know if you've ever heard. Well, are you guys privy to Zydeco?
Yeah, I know Zydeco.
No, what is that?
Oh yeah. So like when I first, I've always heard it because my family is musically inclined, got a great, culture of music and stuff. But when I moved here in Houston, I ran across so many people from Louisiana, and I just kept hearing it. And I was telling my stepdad about it, Coldwater, Mississippi, he know where all that stuff comes, musician, all this stuff, right? I say, honestly, when I went to Jack's, popular Zydeco bar here, and we were dancing a two-step and all this, and all those things have something in common, and they always have a Negro influence. Okay, they do. I mean, historically speaking. So I said, yeah, you know, it was a live band, great band, but I said, you know what? It just sounds like, if you really listen to it, it just sounds like some people on the back porch one night. Look, it's chilling. Finally cooled down. They got some watermelon, and they just like playing on one of them washboards or something, or beating spoons or blowing a jar. He said, Stuffy, that's exactly what it is.
What, Zydeco?
Yeah, like where because
Yeah.
all of that. That's where it comes from. It's like now they have the accordion, but before that, you know, you kept the rhythm with those simple things. And remember, there were slaves dropped off everywhere.
Yeah.
So even to salsa, which was actually called mambo back in the day, it became salsa after like the New York. It was actually Tito Puente, Celia Cruz. All these are like Afro-Cuban people. Okay, all coming together. They mixed it, called it salsa, because you know salsa is a mix of things like the food. So the music was too. They brought it all together, but it was all Afro beats from Africa and different parts of just the world. And so it's always interesting, even to the country stuff. It all dates back to wherever they dropped us off at. Because you know, coming off them ships, we just thought it was one place. Oh, it was everywhere. That's why you saw that in the World Cup.
Yeah, and music reflects the face of the culture that it's representing, essentially.
Yeah.
And so when Zydeco, the influence was largely Spanish and French, right? And that's why you have the inception of the accordion.
But it was the Afro unit. It is those things, but it was like because you got the Afro Latino, and because it was the Afro influence.
Absolutely. So a large part of the identification, as it were, again, the music will reflect the culture that it represents. And so the lyrics that were given over to the Southwest style of music was that of the lonely, lonesome girlfriend, wife left here. You're trying to hold on to maintain your dog. That was also largely influenced by the rhythms and the shapings and the formings of blues music as it moved from the Delta westward, right? So yeah, it becomes a bit of a Creole type of deal. It's a huge mix.
But you know, if you
largely based, especially the patterns of the drums, it's very much so largely based.
But you know what?
There you go. And the bass, that's the bass line.
Even if you go before that, see, there's always that controversy: was Beethoven black? Because some people say he was black, some people say he wasn't black. If he was black, and all that classical music he created, and all the music that came after him was influenced by a black man called Beethoven. Now, I've read in those conspiracies where they said he was a black man, and the conspiracy that the writer of the Three Musketeers,
Alexander Dumas.
Yeah, and also the other story he wrote. That's not a conspiracy. No, that's a fact.
Well, yeah. So
about him. So a lot of times there's all these black Europeans.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name because now it's absolutely escaping me.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't. So it's tricky when you talk about music.
No, because during that period, and it's partially, some of that conspiracy is partially true, especially when it comes to Beethoven, because when he was in France, he was rubbing shoulders with the likes of the Alexander Dumas, as well as there's another brother. I just read the book, and it's killing me, but the other guy, the Chevalier, Chevalier de, it'll come to me, right? But the Chevalier, he was senior to them both, right? His music largely influenced how they both saw where they were. Like Alexander Dumas' father and the Chevalier, they were peers, although there was a bit of a rivalry. But the Chevalier, he came from one of the islands as a slave. And his father, he was mixed, he was a mulatto, and his father, who was a Frenchman, took him back to France. And as he went back to France, he was able to gain his freedom, but he was also able to jump into the nobility. One his influence in the music in the realm of nobility was not only in the theater world, the acting world, but also in war, as well as he was heralded at one point as one of the greatest. He was heralded as one of the greatest fencers of France,
Oh
if not the
yeah,
greatest fencer of France.
yeah.
So a lot of yeah, a lot of anyway. There's a whole thing about it. I absolutely love. So yeah, yeah. Wig is having issues. I see.
Yeah,
No
that whole
worries.
thing is just interesting. And but anyway, like Dolly Parton, she with the last music awards that was on with that Queen Law hosted, she came out there, Dolly Parton, and she had on a big blonde wig, but it was an afro, like a curly afro. And she did her first rap song, and she was telling us to watch out for her new her new album. She was gonna make a rap album, and she was rapping. It was cute, and she was incorporating Queen Law, and so it was just really funny. We just watched it on YouTube again, and she doesn't look 80 nothing, or like I know she probably had good surgeons, especially for her girls, but he used to
I was
say she
about
would
to say,
upgrade them like you would upgrade tires.
yeah. I
But
was sure
that was
about
my
to say it.
girl.
Plastic surgery is a hell of a drug, but
Yeah,
whatever the
it
case may
worked.
be.
It worked for her though, because she didn't look like no monster at all.
No, she didn't.
One last piece I learned just today was that she was going to do "I Will Always Love You." She was going to let Elvis do the song,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
but Elvis wanted half
50%.
the publishing and points, and she was
Yeah.
like, "No, I can't do
It
that."
was already a hit.
And she really wanted to do the song with Elvis, but she wasn't giving up 50%. So they was like, "Okay, well, if you're not giving up 50%, you're not doing the song." And then look at God,
Mm.
the Whitney version
Yeah.
just killed it.
Yeah.
And hearing her describe how she felt the first time she heard that on the radio, she was talking about that's her song, which was already a hit, right? Back in the day, and now it's being recycled and Whitney doing it. She's like, she said when Whitney was doing it, nobody could out-sing her. She was just the greatest. When she was here, she had such a great voice. And then
Glass,
she
can you hear
said,
me?
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I
and
can't
then
hear
she
nobody
said,
else though. I'm gonna have to go out and come back in again. That's why I keep dropping.
Okay.
and then she said that when she heard that she was driving, and after the acapella part where Whitney is singing was just one thing, she said she almost passed out, and then she heard the orchestra and stuff come in, and it was just like, wow, how could this have possibly been something that she wrote? She said this was such a simple song that relates to so many people, but what Whitney did to it was just phenomenal. It blew her mind, and she almost just lost control.
Yeah. Yeah. So absolutely, shout out to the late. I'll even call her great. The late.
She was
Yeah,
great.
she was
She
great.
was great.
Absolutely, late great Dolly Parton. She.
Look, we lost a good white woman. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I liked her
yesterday
speech about she was.
we lost a good white woman yesterday.
She was defending black people, everybody, trans, whoever. She's like, people should just be able to be who they are without being discriminated with and abused and all this kind of stuff. As far as those people that are going around bullying, you know what I mean. So she was just saying how she loved people and children, and we grew up watching Hee Haw. I don't know about y'all, but we love music. So
I saw Hee Haw a couple of times. It wasn't my thing.
the jokes and stuff. My stepdad watched that. He was a country boy.
Yeah, I was more of a Bonanza and
Look, he watched all that too.
Yeah. So
Look, what was it? Rifleman was a little before my time or our time, but it was Rifleman. Anything he would just say, put it on a cowboy. It don't matter what it was, as long as they was on a horse, he was fine. Gunsmoke, Bonanza. What was the one?
Blazing Saddles.
No, that was just a movie. That was a great movie. If you guys remember, have you ever seen that?
I saw some of it. It was a while ago.
That was a great coat.
If you watch it again, you won't believe that that's how they was talking back when we was little.
I know.
They was dropping bombs on TV.
Look, listen, Rich, you need to see that, because look, do you remember with Cleavon Little when they were saying the sheriff? They thought the man was saying the sheriff is near, but they kept ringing the bell. The sheriff is near. So the sheriff is near.
Yeah.
You saw that, Rich?
I saw the movie, and you know I saw it.
Yeah, that was such a. We grew up watching Craig. My mama, them, they just opened us up to all of it, and just because, like again, my stepdad, he was country boy from Mississippi, not Coldwater, but Coldwater, Mississippi. So anything that was relating to that style of living or that culture, he watched. But it didn't necessarily include him in it. It was just where how it is. All this, even with the Afro Latinos, still suffer with this today. They'll have just like the light skinned one or the white one versus them, and then it's like, well, and that's why I love Celia Cruz so much, because she was a black Cubana, and she was like. Yeah, I speak Spanish, but she's like, I'm black. And look, she would be saying this in Spanish, but like, I'm negra. It's that's who, it's who you are, even though you're not represented. And until Obama got into office, I remember how the commercials still were, but we just got used to not being seen. So it's the same thing. But then all of a sudden, when Obama got close to being in office, it was like, hold up, all these black folks in these commercials and stuff, what's going on?
And then Cheerios pissed everybody off with black and white.
With the
interracial couples. And as my grandma would say, mulatto kids.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Juan. All right, so Wig, how about you?
Hi, girl.
What's up, Glass?
How you been this week, man?
Hey, it's just been a week, man. Just like I always say, just thank God for what we have, because it can always be worse.
Yeah, I hear that. You could
Hey, Wig.
You could be.
We gonna see you today. Hey, there you go. What's up?
There he is.
How y'all doing, man?
Good to see you.
You could be stuck behind a computer trying to figure out 9th and 10th grade math again. What's going on? Look, I've got problems that are crazy. But anyway, Rich, how about you?
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. I might, one of these days, I might just bring some of my math on here to see how y'all fare with it.
Is it the new math?
I don't do it that way. I can't do it. I do it the way I learned. All I'll say is I was taking the pre-test, the placement test in math, and I looked at the equations and I was like, in my brain was like, yeah, we've done this some decades ago. We ain't finna do it now. You ain't gonna do it. You ain't finna. You can try all you want to go x squared plus x cubed plus 2b plus by equals 3, whatever. But you ain't. Nah, you go ahead and take this class. Don't worry about getting placed. You'll finish this class and you'll be ready. But not right now, big dog. You got to walk this walk.
Hey, you know how,
just remember, both sides need to equal the same thing.
So that ain't even a new math, Jake Glass. Sorry about that. That ain't even a new math.
I'm not worried about the new math. I just got to get through this class so I can move on to statistics. That's all I need to do.
Hey, Glass, let me tell you something about that statistics. So I took a statistics class and I was getting my bachelor's, and it was for the class was 6 weeks, University of Phoenix, and we had an African guy that was teaching it. So we was all challenged twice, the class and his accent.
Yeah.
And it was a Monday night I got there. We have 2 more tests to go. One more. I think this is the last test, and I asked him. He said you can use everything but each other. I don't care what you use, you just can't use each other. So I looked at the test. It was Monday night. I think class started at 6. And I'm in West Palm class. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, but I live in Port St. Lucie, which is like an hour and a half away. So I looked at the test and I went up to him. I said, if I was to completely bomb this test, what would my grade be? He said, he looked at it, he said, if I graded on a curve, you're probably looking at a low C. I signed that damn paper and gave it right to him. Here you go.
Why stress yourself out?
C's get degrees.
Because when you shit. Can you hear me, Glass?
Yeah.
So because when you start looking at the mode, the medium, and all that stuff there, I said, nah, I'm good on that right there. So I thought I was the only one. But what the hell? I was like 20 of us in the class. I think 10 of us did the same thing.
Yeah.
So we were just like, it's not.
Wow.
Trump got his internet.
Uh,
Damn. Oh, you better come back. I need to hear the rest of that story. I know what
Did he say 12? 12 out of the 20 signed it and left?
20. He said about
But 12 out of the 20 did that? I guess we need
I think so.
I guess we need him to come back.
Yeah.
oh, here it comes.
I think
So,
hey,
we're
William,
good.
how
I'm good.
many you say did that?
About 10 of us, half the class.
Are you saying 3 or 12?
12.
I said if it was 20 of us in the class, 10 of us did it.
Okay.
But the crazy part about that class is that statistics, as he said if I graded on a curve, so if 10 of us did it and 10 of us stayed, eventually he still would have had to curve it.
Yeah.
So give me my C. Give me my C. Let me go home and catch this Monday night game.
Hey.
So good luck in that statistics class, cause bro, even the calculator hard to turn on.
Man.
I'm serious.
I do admit I do like
$100.
I enjoy stats. I've done a little bit of it, but I'm a logistician, so
But here's the crazy part about that class. So at the time I was doing one, I was getting my bachelor's. My wife, well, she had already finished, but almost all these lady papers I wrote for her. But then she got a master's in taxation. So when I asked her to help me with my statistics, well, you gotta learn. I said, boy, I wish I could rewrite them damn papers right about now. It'll be all kind of him done good in there.
Look, my lady already told me she ain't helping me. So
yeah, I'm good though, man. Well, let's get to it, man.
Yeah, she got a whole master. I had her on FaceTime when we was listening to my work, and she was like, Anyway, so yeah, let's get to it. We ain't gonna talk about me no more. First things first, I have a question for the panel before we jump into this. I'll show you the topic, but I need to know where you stand and how you are processing this as a way of understanding where we're headed economically. Why are we once again experiencing tariff war with Canada? I'll let you work through your emotions on that, Steph, and I'll start with you, Wig. Where are you at with that?
You know what? I'm gonna be quick on this one. I don't know how. This is like cheating. Somebody gave the answer to the test and you still fail. This guy negotiated a deal. His deal. How you fail at something? You create the damn rules. But then you turn around and you say they're not treating us fair. But they're going off of your deal that you did with them. If you truly want to, if you want to tax anybody, you talk so bad about China. Why not tax? Why not tax China?
Oh, hey, come on, calm down over there. We
Because you
can't.
know if you tax, because you know where all American factories at.
Yeah, can't do
So
nothing about
you trying to go at you going to Canada because Canada's low hanging fruit. That's what I feel. I feel like Canada's low hanging fruit. Everywhere that America has factories, they don't. He's not really bothered with them. He might say he's gonna do something, but then he turn around and he change it right 24 hours before he's supposed to do it or whatever. Or after he done made whatever money he gonna make.
it. Taco. Yeah.
So
Um.
that's what I say. I feel like Canada is low hanging fruit. You know, it's hard to beat free. We had a zero. We were just trading with Canada. Wasn't nobody putting no tariffs on nobody. But here come. Listen, last thing. Everybody got a little bit of stupid in them. I, everybody got a little bit of stupid. I just think he's just going overboard with his stupid.
Yep, what Oscar said.
Exactly. I just think he's going a little bit overboard with his stupid. You know that I mean, you can't defend the undefensible. You create the rules to the test. You write the test. You know the answer to the test, but you still fail.
Oof,
The good thing about animals, especially like wolf packs and stuff like that, they never let the stupid person lead.
they kill him.
Man,
I'm just saying.
man.
If animals are smarter than us by not letting the stupid person lead, if you know that person's gonna get you lost, why the hell you put them up front?
Because you hoping he gonna get the people that you hate lost.
Oh,
Mm, mm. Oh, my man. That's all I got to say on that one, Glass. My man.
hey, well then we will transfer that. We will transfer that up north. Uh. So yeah, continue on. Let me.
But look, he is the king of this is what I didn't vote for. And you know, he's trying to slam he's mad because Canada is doing deals without them, without us.
Yeah.
Canada
Yeah,
doing their own thing, and
exactly.
he's pissed at that. He wants Canada to be beholden to him. But then I heard him make a quote about aluminum.
Yeah.
He said,
Did he pronounce it right?
"Yeah."
Okay.
He said, "We don't need Canada. Canada needs us." His next sentence is, "Well, we need aluminum because we don't have any of that. We need it really bad."
Yeah.
Guess who got aluminum?
Canada.
That's where we get our aluminum from.
See?
Canada. And I love the way he said, we just gonna go tit for tat. We're gonna go dollar for dollar.
Mm.
So you just wasting everybody's time, but who's getting hurt?
American people.
The consumer.
Yeah.
And just by the
Because
way,
they have to absorb
the
the
tariff.
tariff.
Just on that point, real fast. The first round of wave of tariffs that was actually refunded back went to the big
The
corporations.
business owner.
Did not go or come down to. There is no trickle down effect. I just want all of the economists to acknowledge that there is no trickle down effect when it comes to tariffs being refunded to the consumer. It stopped exactly at the big corporations, and with the promise that, oh, we're going to lower. You're going to see that we're going to lower our prices. I just want to throw that in there, but please continue.
I trying my best not to say this, but it's like you said how, and I was like, I'll just yeah, what Oscar said.
I will put it back up.
Because she's stupid. That's what I want. And I feel that, because dementia is near and dear to my heart. That's what my family members battled that. But I get it, but I don't. It may be dementia, but it's ignorance and stupidity. I'm like, yeah, that's what it really is, if you ask me. And then having people no checks and balances on him, but after he gets talked about so bad, then he fades on and starts something else. Like right now, it's not the war, but now it's Canada. So what else is next? You know what I'm saying? So
I can tell you what's next, but we'll come back to that at a later time. We'll come back to
do
that.
tell.
I will. I'm gonna write it down. I'll write it down so I come back to it. I'm taking
I'll
notes.
hold it up to the camera so we can all see.
Yeah. These are my notes. I'm taking them real quick as we go through. I got 3 questions that I got to circle back around to. Rich, where are you at?
I have no opinion. I'm going to back up what Mr. Wiggs said. I don't have no opinion.
Well, I remember. I'm asking you specifically because I remember at one point you were saying.
No, you're
the first round of tariffs.
No, Gemini. Hold on, Gemini. Hold on.
What do you say?
Not in your Ice Cube voice. What he say?
Yeah. And I understand why you said it, but you wanted to see how it was going to play out, right?
Well,
because you didn't really take a position against.
No, and listen, I'm still not going to take a position because economics is a pseudoscience.
Sure.
So, could the money trickle down? It could. Could it not trickle down? It sure couldn't. So, you keep taking these classes and you talk to some of these other students, and when you find out that
I don't.
But even when you talk to other students and you talk to these students who are econ majors, and they're getting a liberal arts degree in economics, a liberal arts degree, because it's a pseudoscience. So all this tariff and stuff, and the law of supply and demand, that's all based off of a person's opinion. That's all that it is. So maybe the tariffs will work, maybe they won't work. But what we do know is when you give tax breaks to corporations, that works for them. That we do know. That's a fact.
Richard,
go ahead.
Why were they refunded?
Huh?
Why were they refunded?
Because that's what wealthy do. Wealthy people take care of wealthy people.
No. Why were they refunded?
Rich get rich.
What was refunded?
Because the court said
right. Because the Supreme Court said it.
But the tariffs.
Yes.
Tariffs. Oh well. Hey, listen. One court to tell you one minute about a tariff, another court to tell you something different. So
we waiting for the court that says tariff. His shit was good. We ain't heard from the court that said that. We done heard from many courts that said no.
But I don't. No. Wait, hold on. Just because a court rules on something that you favor, that court could turn later down the road and rule on something you don't favor. So when courts make rulings in today's society, I don't put a lot of stock into it. Because if a court rules on something you believe in, then you want to go up to court. But the court rules, quote, let's get rid of section, help gut section 2 of the Voting Rights Act from the United States Supreme Court, then we say, no, that's bad. So I don't really get caught up into what the courts say in today's society either. So with this tariff situation, really quickly, again, I still don't really have an opinion. Maybe it will work. It doesn't look like it's working, not for common people.
Do we have evidence of tariffs working ever?
I would have to go back in history, and I don't know history that well.
Right. So the fact that you got to go back in history is a good indicator that they don't work.
Well, no, because when you go back in history to study things, a lot of white people will tell you that black people in America have never contributed to America. But when you go back into history and start counting it from the time you arrived over here, you'll see we have a legacy of
But if somebody were to say that today, I wouldn't have to go back into history.
Yeah, because Because
I can give you the data.
Right. That's right.
So I wouldn't have to go. But my point is, if there's a subject matter and you got to go back into the Wayback Machine in order to build an argument, then that's a good indicator that it don't work.
That's
my personal opinion.
No, that's fine. And
that's my personal opinion.
Again, I don't have an opinion on these tariffs. Like I said, it may work, it may not. I don't think it really matters. I don't. I've never been concerned with the tariffs.
Well, no, tariffs are costing the American taxpayer $2,000 a year.
But that's what they claim. But
that's what they've calculated. Not claim. This is not a claim.
Wait a minute.
Richard, that's an objective truth.
That's
mathematics.
No, because again, you're basing your objective truth off of pseudoscience called tariffs, called economics.
No, it's not.
That's why I'm not going to have again. At the end of the day, I'm not going to have an opinion. I am not going to have an opinion.
All right, I'm asking you a question.
Right, so,
is taxes a science to you or a theory?
No, taxes is true.
Right.
But the taxes, the quote tariff, which is a tax, is based off. Hold on. let me finish, is based off the idea of economics. And so when you base things off of economics, saying with this a lot, supply and demand and all of this pseudoscience, then you can create some objective. Hold on, let me finish.
Richard, I hear what you're saying.
Okay,
Is that how he is calculating tariffs?
He's not calculating tariffs because I don't know who's advising.
So he's not utilizing any science.
Okay. So I'm kind of done with the conversation, Mr. Glass. Like I said, I don't have an opinion. It doesn't matter to me. So you can go on to the next subject.
And so there's two truths that are happening, right? And then I'll come to you in a second, Oscar. So when a society is presented with a norm, right, regardless of the actual reality of it, the relevance of the norm, but inside that society, that norm becomes the law. That law becomes the thing that the society is pushed forward on and progresses from, or devolves from, right? So I'm saying that to put objectivity to what Lynn is saying, as well as objectivity to what you're saying, because yes, economics is a pseudoscience. Unfortunately, in our society, it's become a law. It's part of our society that we operate inside of, and so with that being relevant, there are calculations that they objectively come up with, and it might still be a pseudoscience.
When you create calculations off of pseudoscience, people who are pro-Democrat who are against the tariffs will come up with their calculations, and those who were pro-Republican who are pro-Trump will come up with their calculations based off the economics. That's not a true science because it's just an opinion. Hold on a second. Even stats class, when you do your stats, and that should be a science to doing stats with those formulas. Which formula do you use on which particular situation? You're going to have people argue. Maybe you haven't hit that point yet. When you're in a group in their stats class, you'll have people arguing over which formula to use to get the answer. And
sure.
even political statisticians will have them same arguments about, we're going to use this formula to get this calculation to help the person we're trying to promote to win a candidacy. So that's why I said, I'm not trying to be argumentative, not tonight, not on this issue, because but
that's what I'm saying. To part of your point, right, is economics is a pseudoscience, and it was created to push capitalism in the society that we live in, right? Even though it's a pseudoscience, it's still pushed as a bit of a law so that we can find some form of value in finances, right? So I'm not disagreeing with you at all as far as it being, because it's literally defined as a pseudoscience according to itself.
But remember, when I first said this 2 years ago on the show, or a year and a half ago on the show, it wasn't Lynn that was giving me the time about the word economics.
No, it was Deuce.
It was.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, when you can deal with the micro, and then you also have to deal with the macro, right?
Okay.
And if one's going to reflect the other, but there are certain things that are more relevant in one space than what they are in another. Time is a great example. The speed of light doesn't care how fast or how slow I'm moving right now, but I'm basing my movement off of the speed of light, if that makes sense.
When he announced he was going to do tariffs, because of his track record of not being able to run his own personal businesses correctly, whether you like him or not, people are going to look and hold you to a higher standard when you're talking about doing something that America normally has not done. That's the first thing. And then you talk about doing a tax, and the Republican Party has always said we don't believe in taxes. But here you are as a Republican president saying you're going to do taxes to equal things out. And then after you said that in beginning in 25, or when you announced the tariffs in 25, the American people in their heart feel like it's not working. But if you ask some American people who voted for Trump, they'll say they're just fine. So we're gonna find out how important this tariff situation is, along with his leadership, and that's reflected in this war. We're going to find out really how people feel about this importance of the tariffs and the Iranian not the war, military conflict.
I got you.
Yeah, military conflict. We're going to find out. So that's why I said I don't really have an opinion still about these tariffs, because it does. To me, I said it. To me, it doesn't look like it's working, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's working for some people, but not for other people. I don't know.
I don't disagree with you and how you're describing it, because Scott Bessent is a great example, right? He would tell you that the tariffs are we're killing it with the tariffs, right? And that's why. Exactly right, because it becomes relative at that point. So, Oscar, fair point, fair enough. I got what you.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
In what world of business are you collecting revenue and then refunding it and killing it? What business model is that?
That's Scott Bessent's business model. That's how
what business model is that called? Voodoo economics. What the hell is that?
However, he's coming up with his math, and he's figuring that we are generating some form of revenue.
This the same guy that threatened everybody who does anything with Iran is getting tossed off the U.S. dollar. That's
he did just
that knucklehead. Any knucklehead, you know, that Charles Barkley disciple.
He can say knucklehead like Charles Barkley. Do it again. He sounds
I'm just saying
knucklehead know that you don't collect revenue and then refund revenue. And your business
hold on. Now, wait a minute now. I want you to remember, you say knucklehead and laughing about Charles Barkley. Okay, I'm going to remember that.
Okay.
No, I'm not Charles. I'm imitating his.
Okay. Let you clarify. Okay.
Yeah,
Charles Barkley always calling people knuckleheads.
No, that's fair. But see, Lynn knew where I was ready to go to, so you kind of preempted me from
No, actually, I didn't. I just wanted to let you know I wasn't calling Charles a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Him calling people knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm bringing up Scott Bessent.
We gotta let Oscar cook. He been
and I'm just bringing up Bessent just to say that. All things considered, I understand the point that Rich is making, but when it comes to what we're doing in real life, right, I absolutely understand where you're coming from as well, Lynn. So, jump in on there.
Where to even start with all this stuff? I think one of the main things, the main reasons for tariffs is to offset the imbalances of trade, right? That's the main reason. A lot of times it's used to offset, say you're going to give corporate tax to tax breaks to American companies or companies here, and you're offsetting that by charging, foreign transport in or foreign products coming in. But I think this guy's a dum-dum, and that's on the record. I think this guy's a dum-dum. I think he literally gets executive summaries and then takes things to the extremes. I think everything he does, there is some semblance of truth and some semblance of an issue, right? So it's not too far gone, but I think he goes very heavy-handed. So I'm going to give you an example, right? This whole thing started off with the whole Chinese steel being overproduced, much cheaper than Canadian, American, all sorts of steel. The problem with the way the world works with business is I'm sure he probably heard over somewhere that Chinese steel gets sent to Canada, and from Canada, it comes into the United States as a Canadian product, not a Chinese product, right? It's just branding the product Canadian instead of Chinese, right? Okay. Skipping direct transport to the United States because it was, they reduced it. So I'm sure his whole thing was like, oh my God, this is happening, 100% tariffs, I don't know. I don't think it's effective. I think in the end, we as the consumer lose. I mean, just look at where we are with the price of products, and I don't agree with it in the sense that, like, great, you're doing that, but at the same time, you're screwing over cattle ranchers in America that you claim to support by receiving a bunch of meat from a country that you are butt buddies with now because that guy likes you, it's just one of those things. It's like, just because you like the other guy as a president and you want to take on, thousands and thousands of pounds of meat, it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It's not good for our economy. It's not good for just our safety in general.
Well,
It's
would you say that importing beef into the United States without a tariff is a benefit for the consumer?
for the consumer. If let's say if everything went well, there was no tariff on it, and it was inspected to meet American standards and American, just American health standards. Is it a benefit to the American people? Directly, yes. In the long term, no. Because in the long term, you're still screwing the cattle ranchers from our own country that should be supplying that meat or the cattle. And you're basically screwing them to the point where they are now beaten out by price. So you're basically cutting down on their profits and their margins and their ability to be sustained as a company, or, as their companies, as their business, as farmers, So I think in the long run, it really does end up hurting them.
Okay. And so I will actually pose that because that was going to be one of the things that I wanted to actually talk about, with not just the Canadian tariffs, which are a horrible idea, but let me before we get to the beef, dollar for dollar, is America, and I'm saying it this way because it's the citizens who are going to actually have the impact. We're going to be hit with this the hardest. Are we able to do this dollar for dollar with Canada for a long term, especially with the Iran war campaign, or whatever you want to call it, happening, especially leading up into the midterms? How does that look? How does that feel? What does that shake out to be? Oh, my bad. I apologize. Let me. Yeah, Oscar, go ahead. Lean in on that.
No, I was gonna say it's a challenge with with resources and everything like that. I mean, we are fighting a battle, and when we're fighting those battles, we need all the resources that possible to create the missiles, to create the ships, to create the supplies, to create all this other stuff. So the issue being is, like, we're depleting our military arsenals and everything like that, and here we are starting economic and trade wars with everybody else. At some point, we're going to run out of the materials. At some point, we're just not going to have enough to restock and supply. It's the thing I've always kind of like talked to the group about. It's like, we have to see, on a big scale, on a big picture, what had always worried me is the expansion of Chinese ports and ownership of ports all around the world, from Africa to Latin America, South America, to, Asian countries and stuff like that. I mean, historically, we've known the people that control the trade routes are the people that end up winning wars, because they can cut supply lines and they can do all that other stuff, right? Same with trade, logistics and the movement of the flow of goods and minerals, So it's really crucial that instead of alienating ourselves from our allies and from the people that provide us with those supplies and those minerals, we shouldn't be playing these pissing matches back and forth. It really puts us in a vulnerable position, both physically and economically.
Interesting.
Oh, go ahead, Rich. Jump in on that.
So, as right on cue, Oscar comes in with much enlightenment. I've been writing down every word he says, almost.
Excuse me.
His argument is entirely reasonable. That supply line, controlling those supply lines, and China's aggressiveness to try to get more supply lines across the world. He's accurate. And I strongly support every African country's ability to control its destiny by controlling its natural resources. Keep America, China, and anybody else out of your country, including France, England, Germany, or anyone else. Every country should be able to control its own destiny by controlling its resources. Because we use the Federal Reserve System, quote the central bank, we can print up money whenever we want. We could easily subsidize the farmers or anybody else in America, because trust and believe, if it was an American corporation screaming about being subsidized outside of getting tax breaks, they would be subsidized and they would get it. So, when it comes to that money situation, we can print money up. And so when people say, well, if you print too much money up, you will devalue your economy, that's one economist's opinion. That's one economist's opinion. Another economist may say something different. But as long as your money is not backed by gold or silver or diamonds or any type of material wealth that's confined, that has a set amount, you can print as much money as possible, as long as the people keep believing that money is important. And so I say all that to say, that's why I said the tariff situation, does it really matter? Now, as far as the goods, I think America can produce its own goods. I am told by smart people that we got to get oil from these Middle Eastern countries. We got to get those natural raw minerals from different African countries, because we don't have enough oil here in America, and we don't have enough of those raw minerals in America. So if that is correct, well, then Oscar's going to be right. You got to keep those supply lines open. You can't agitate your neighbors, other countries, starting with Canada and Mexico. You can't agitate your neighbors, because you need their help if you believe in one big global society, and I don't.
Okay,
I don't believe in a global society. Okay, go ahead.
Fair enough.
I'm done.
Let me push that over to y'all.
Let me be simple. Business 101. If you have a business, you're always going to have one top client. There's going to be one client that you have that's bigger than all the rest. In our practice, we have one client that's bigger than all the rest of the clients. Not combined, but trust me, that one big client that we have, our biggest client,
top client.
Guess what we want to do with that client?
Maintain
Keep them happy.
Keep them happy.
Yeah.
Who is the number one trade partner on the planet for the United States?
Yeah.
China?
No.
Canada?
Canada.
Okay.
Want to take a guess at who's number two?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay.
You threatening to change the name of the Great Lake?
Yep.
You threatening to make them the 51st state?
Yep.
I wish I would call my top client up and give him or her, I ain't going to even say, or them, because it's a couple, give that couple the business. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
You're absolutely sure of that?
Huh?
Yeah.
You're absolutely sure that Canada is number one for America's trade?
Yes, listen, that's what they say. But
Okay.
even if it isn't number one,
Okay.
it's a top trading partner.
Okay.
It's number two.
Okay.
Mexico's
Okay.
number one.
Okay.
I had them flipped. Okay. Guess
So Mexico's
what?
number one? Okay, that's fine.
Guess what? And it's probably Mexico because of the cars. But no matter what, my
Okay.
point
Correct.
is you got number one and number two. One is in your backyard, number two is in your front yard, and those are the ones you want to piss off. And those ones, your best two, look at you, kiss the ass of China and the
Okay.
Middle East and North Korea. Watching you pucker up for those clowns when they are, without them, you out of business. That's what I'm talking about with the top client. Where when you lose that piece, you go from Shangri-La to struggling to being on the verge of being out of business. And why on earth would you ever, and this is what I'm talking about when I say leadership. This man is a poor leader. I would not follow him anywhere.
To the bathroom.
I wouldn't follow. I can't even imagine a scenario where he was walking someplace and I would follow him. Because I now know he would leave me on the plane.
Oh yeah,
The mic is shut out the air.
absolutely.
But you know what? And I've
He
always
would
said
leave me on that plane.
But here is the problem in this country.
Wow.
You have two major political parties. When President Obama was in from 2008 all the way up to his second term, half the country would never agree with nothing he said. And then when Trump entered, half the country says we'll never follow Trump. So when you have two major parties, one way or another way, this country is completely split, and it's so reflective of this.
Yeah,
Obama
but that the party system has nothing to do with leadership.
But again, but hold on. Actually, it does, because when you talk about your listen to me. When you talk about your definition of leadership, half the country had President Obama's back because they believed in his leadership. But the other half of the country said, we want to make him a one-term president. If he says go left, we're going right. And
Right, but guess what? Guess what? They still knew that he was that dude. They still knew he was that dude. And they tried to replace and repeal his stuff, and they failed because of his leadership.
No, wait a minute.
What I say today, because I think about it every time we have Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Obama. He never one time lost it. Not once did he lose it. When he had ample amounts of times when he was blatantly disrespected to lose his cool, and he never did.
But again, leadership, hold on a second. Leadership is so subjective, because I remember it hasn't been a full 20 years when they said a black man, excuse my language, a black man couldn't be a quarterback of an NFL team because of leadership.
You gotta go back farther than that.
Oh, 30 years or
farther.
50 years or still?
Yeah, about 50 years.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I'll tell you, when I was 9 years old, I can give you a list of things that I was told I couldn't be. And the person that was giving me that list of things that I couldn't be looked like me. Let me tell you what I couldn't be. I couldn't be mayor. I couldn't be a principal. I couldn't be president. I could not be a starting quarterback. I could back up, but I could not be the starter in the NFL. I couldn't I couldn't be governor. And to this day, you can count governors that look like me on this hand.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think Virginia, Governor Wilder was the first. But listen, this underscores the definition of how subjective the word leadership. So when they tried to repeal Obamacare, they failed. That's a fact. You are correct, Lynn. They failed. But
how many times?
Half the country, half the country would never follow President Obama. Ever. Now with Trump, half the country will never follow him.
Right. But never. The difference is they wouldn't follow Obama, not because he was a poor leader,
right?
But because he was a black man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But my point is, with Donald Trump, you're not following him no matter under any circumstances. And the people, look, if I got paid every day, every time a story popped up about somebody that didn't vote for somebody, because I sent y'all the article of the dude who lost his Venezuelan
wife.
Fiance. Where they grab her? What airport?
I can't.
Houston, Texas. ICE snatched her up, going on vacation in Houston, Texas. And now this rich white man of privilege is boo-hooing and telling the world he didn't vote for this. No, we know what you voted for.
Yeah.
You voted for, look, she could have been Brazilian and you would have been fine. With a Brazilian woman in front of you at the airport getting snatched by ICE. But as soon as your Venezuelan fiance got snatched, then it was a problem.
But I want to go back to what you said about half the country wouldn't follow Barack Obama because of his race. Right. But you know what? Half the country is only following Trump because he's white. So again, I think we're making...
No, you got 21% of people look like me following his ass. Don't forget
That's what
that.
they say. Well, they said that 20% of black folks, between 15 and 20%, voted for him in 2024.
21% black men is what I'm
Okay,
talking
black
about.
men. Okay.
Not black women.
So we don't. That's
Black
correct.
women was up there in the 90s
No,
where they
I got you. Now look, I ain't gonna dispute that number. No.
Right.
So what I'm simply saying is, and we don't know if this 20% of black men are still following him to the T, because he said that, you know, a lot of people who voted for him are like, oh, we made a mistake. So we don't know if black men and some of these Latino men and maybe some white men too, we don't know if they're regretting that vote. We don't know.
All the above. All of the above.
Okay. Well, all I'm simply saying, because Oscar has made strong points, and you have too, man. All I'm simply saying is this tariff situation. I'll tell you my frustration with this, because I don't know if it's going to work or it's not going to work. I think it's losing right now, but I could be wrong. My frustration is the tax system. Until you gut that tax system, and I would rather gut the tax system than get rid of the central bank. I'd rather gut the tax.
You want a flat tax?
Do what?
Do you want a flat tax?
In a sense, I kind of do, because it's simpler to explain to people. If you make so much money, you're going to pay taxes on it. And if you say, well, you're going to disincentivize people's brilliance to want to create things in this country, they'll go off to some other country and create all this great stuff, and then we'll suffer. Yeah, I think that's a good argument. But to make things simple, that if you make X amount of dollars, you're going to pay this much in taxes, period, and you're not getting any tax breaks. But if you had universal health care, then you wouldn't have to worry about that healthcare bill. Because a lot of people say we need all the money we can get to take care of our healthcare needs for our families. But if you had universal health care, but some people say that's too much of a universal socialism. Okay. So how do you keep people inspired to work? I don't have all the answers.
The key is I don't have the formula either, but I do know what the foundation of it is. And it's very hard to strike by either party, and it's balance.
Okay. Yeah,
it's
I
balance.
Agree. Yeah,
because is there because I remember, I forget what the candidate, it may have been Forbes, but he was talking about 10% across the board. And you get paid, like Chris Rock said, we don't pay taxes, they take taxes.
Yeah.
So you get paid, the 10% is taken. Because today, do you know what that number is? It's 28.
Yeah.
It's 28. That's the average withholding.
Yeah.
So for every dollar that you get paid, you getting 72 cents, you netting 72 cents. 28 is going to FICA, FUTA, and them boys. All of them. Not just the feds, but all those taxes. So you got to find a number that you take it, and then we're not doing this refund nonsense at the end.
Okay, fair enough.
Because a lot of people are overpaying. A lot of people are using the tax system as a savings account.
Yeah.
So they can get a big 4-figure, 5-figure tax refund.
Or pay for school clothes.
Right.
And I can't dispute that.
Right.
I can't dispute that.
So, get all of that. Yeah, just get all that out. Find a number that hurts everybody equally.
Well, remember,
I'm
sorry.
But that's what I'm saying. I would need. I need to do more research because flat tax just sounds too logically simple. I know there's some problem because I can tell you the first problem is 1099s.
But
well, yeah.
You can't do that with 1099s.
But Lynn,
you only do that with W-2.
You and Deuce have repeatedly gone upside my head about not using logic and being very logical. You guys go upside.
I haven't done that to you.
Not logic.
Okay, but maybe I got you confused with Deuce then. Deuce, because Deuce goes upside my.
You can lie on Deuce. Don't lie on me.
No.
Deuce in India. He can't
I've
defend
never
himself
said
right
anything
now.
about it. I've never questioned. Listen, I've never questioned your logic.
All right. So I have you
today. There are three truths.
So I had you confused.
There are three truths: the objective truth, the political truth, and the personal truth. And every one of us has our personal truth. And we use that consciously or unconsciously, to drive our belief system. But that's why I always try to keep things to objective. Like,
so listen,
in Jay Glass's math class,
correct
me if I'm wrong, Jay, but 2 + 2 is still 4, correct?
So check
it. Yeah, unless you put a somewhere in that damn
Oscar,
thing.
listen, Oscar and Wig. Yes. He asked me about, Lynn asked me about the flat tax. And I said, that makes it very simple. So let's make the tax very simple. If you make so much, this is how much you pay in taxes, and just be done. Now, some people say the more you make, the higher you should pay in taxes. But if you can get everybody to at least pay 10 to 20% of their taxes and make it quite simple, that's as simple as you can.
The reason why,
and then you could gut the IRS because now you don't need to audit anybody.
Yeah, but
now you don't need to process hundreds of millions of refunds at a fast ass pace the first quarter of every year.
But also
if you can just find that flat tax number that everybody has to pay.
And so the flat 50%. Tax would have to be based. It would have to be based off of the gross that a person brings in, because 10% hurts different people at a different amount, right? So it would because I did do this scenario with a few buddies of mine trying to we were just spitballing it because I hate the tax deal, and I'll throw this down to you in a second, Wig. But if I make $100 a year, or if I make $100 a day, and Rich, you making $150, and Steph and Lynn, y'all are making $200, that 10% is going to hurt me more than what is going to hurt you at the end of the day.
But Jay, that's what's happening now. Like I said, across the board for a W-2 employee, it's 28%.
I'm not disagreeing. So for the 1099 person, it's still killing us. The issue comes in with what's going on, Keith, with the corporations who aren't paying taxes at all or very little, right? Because a 10% hit from them in taxes, when you're paying 10% off of $1 billion, well, then that would wipe out a lot of what we got going on right now. So 10% would make sense for them, but 5%, 2.5% would make more sense for us.
Hold on a second.
I don't want to hang on to the tax thing too much longer because I want to keep us on track, but go ahead.
All right, I'll make this real quick. This is where I come into my fairness of equality. If you put a term limit on the U.S. president, then you're going to put a term limit on both houses, on the House and the Senate, okay? And so when you're going to do these taxes, I'm going to use that same principle. If I want you to treat me with equal respect as a black man, even though you got a 2 or 300 head, 2 or 3 year, 100 head start on me, then we're going to do it equal. And so when it comes to these tax rates, regardless of how much money you make or you don't make, it's going to be equal for equality's sake. I'm done.
But I just wanted to have one note. There's no greater benefit to the government than ignorant people.
Yeah.
Period. Financially ignorant people. Period. And here's the reason. And here's the reason. Lynn said it himself a little bit earlier. He said there are some people that are overpaying, right? If everybody was financially knowledgeable, there would be no reason why you pay the government first, because you're losing money on that.
Yeah.
You're losing the possibility of investment and growing wealth, while the government is growing wealth and using your money to grow money, right? So if you had the ability and the knowledge to keep that money and through that year grow that money, smart investments, whatever it is, it doesn't benefit them to make it easy at all. Plain and simple. When the government takes, it increases the amount of money it needs every single year, every single decade. It continues to grow up. I'm one of those people that I'm like, you know what? We have to simplify. The system is getting too big. People are getting overtaxed. We've seen this time and time again throughout history, that when kingdoms and kings or empires require too much in tax dollars from their people, there is civil unrest. There is chaos.
And it comes
and it the reality is that there is a fine balance between how much you can actually tax people to where they are comfortable and productive and good for society, to the point where they are completely angry, frustrated, resentful of the system. And that is dangerous. And I think we are getting to that point in many states where people are just overly taxed and they don't see anything back from it. They just continue to feel sandwiched in and completely like pushed into a corner.
Well,
You know, and that's the big problem. It's like, okay, and now you have a government that's not functioning. Now you have a government that's like making it more expensive. Now you have a government that's causing me to have parasites and illnesses and this and that. And hey, where's my tax money going? I have potholes here. My kid's going to a school that's ranked the least in the world comparatively. Like, what's going on, right?
So is
So
it? I'm sorry.
you know, that's the big thing.
So is it the system or is it
well,
greed?
like Marie Antoinette said.
Let him eat cake.
I
Well,
What's up, guys?
It's a part of
wrong
a.
person.
Yeah,
No, that's
Marie
fine.
Antoinette.
How's it going? Good to see you guys again.
What's up? Yeah,
Always.
and my
Marie
last little
Antoinette-
point.
Marie-
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, give me 1 second, because I want to say this because it does actually speak to your point. Because historically we see a routine that continues to play out, especially when it begins to take on the narrative of taxing people. Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. At this point, Trump is saying let them eat beef, and it's funny, but it's there's a truth in it, because the beef that he's talking about is the beef that China's rejected, that he wants to bring in
From Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is an actual movement of when you tax people too much, it begins to cause civil unrest, because there is a hopelessness that people begin to feel, particularly in their families, and crime begins to rise.
Correct.
So
Well,
we
it's
ain't gonna-
taxation without representation, and unfortunately, I think I agree with a lot of what Oscar said. I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily think people are being overtaxed. I do, but I don't, and I'll explain. But I think the wrong people are being taxed for things that I think the right people who can afford to pay those taxes should be taxed for. With this big ugly bill that passed, it gave further tax breaks to the wealthiest 1% in the country, and while it gave temporary tax breaks to the middle class and the working class, it also that all goes away. The tax cuts to the ultra wealthy are permanent. And if we had just a 1% no loophole tax on the wealthiest billionaires in this country, we would have enough money to fund anything and everything that we needed to. We could have universal health care. We could have, any number of things, and everything would be fine. Instead, what we have is the MAGA party pillaging every single possible entitlement that we have, from Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. Right now, there have been unnecessary cuts, yet Donald Trump wants to spend $400 million to build a new ballroom where he tore down the east wing of the White House, and that didn't need to be done. And he wants to spend, I think it's $100 million on destroying and rebuilding the helipad at the White House, just because he wants to put the presidential seal on it, at a time when that money alone could have gone towards any number of things. He defunded the USDA. We're talking about this beef issue. We wouldn't have these problems if he didn't defund the USDA. We wouldn't have these problems if he wasn't gutting things in the EPA. And so all the money that he's taking from that, he's putting into vanity projects. And so when Oscar says we're paying too much in taxes and it's not going towards anything that benefit us, I understand that, because it's not that we're necessarily paying too much, it's we're paying too much for what we're getting.
And that's kind of like one of the things I like to kind of point out is the more I talk to people, regardless of banner or flag you fly, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Democratic, so whatever it is,
It's all gang banging.
a lot of the time,
Crips and
people
Blood.
will be people
Hey,
would have
yay.
yeah, right. Like people have the same needs. The conversations are the same. James Glass just said that I sound like a conservative Republican with the things I'm saying. There comes a time where it becomes so blurred that it's just talking points that the average American is facing, and it's not left, it's not right. It really is just what we are living, right? And the basic needs that we have based on how much we pay taxes. Like everybody wouldn't be against better schools for their kids for a better, more prosperous future. People would, it's crazy to me that you have all these corporations, conglomerates, and all these people that are causing the division, that are causing the you should be wearing, with this flag and that flag. And then when when their conversation points and talking points start to fail, they go communists
Yeah.
or Nazis,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I blame
Yes.
both sides. I blame the left just as much as quickly going to calling people Nazis when they had conversations that were not even like anywhere near that at that point. And now, hey, you call a monster enough, they'll become the monster that you tell them they are.
Oscar,
Right.
real quick point, not to
Or the
interrupt
one
you.
or the
would-
monster they're hiding.
Hey, Oscar, you wasn't on the show your podcast back. When we call white people racist, they don't really care. But when white people call other white people not Nazis because of what happened in Germany, white people get really, really upset. I mean, they'd be ready to. And so I stop right there.
So
Well,
let me-
I think white people, when you say they don't care, overall, I think white people don't care until there's consequences for it.
Okay.
I think then they care. When their job is threatened, when they get doxxed, when they get put on social media, then they care. Then they want to explain, "Oh, that wasn't what I meant. One of my best friends is black." That's when they care.
The crazy
Okay.
part is we're in such a top we're in
Yeah.
such a topsy-turvy world that now those people are no longer saying, "Oh, that's not what I meant." They're saying, "Yeah, I said that, and I'm proud
Yeah.
because my president
Some of them, yeah.
pardoned me. My president pardoned me, and that basically makes me the voice for the white people, the voice for the white national, the voice." And we see it; it's happening more and more, And there's
That's
all
why-
these talking points
Hold
that
on,
are just
hold
feeding
on.
into that.
I don't go too far on that because
Okay,
that's
okay.
going to be part of the next thing we talk about.
Okay,
But I want
okay.
before we do, I want to jump to Wig and see and ask the question as well. The tariff war that we got going on with Canada, is it sustainable by the American public, by the American citizens?
Hell no.
Wig,
Are you ready to pay? Are you ready to pay more in insurance? Are you ready to pay more in all the other stuff? I mean, we're already inundated with the crazy rising cost of insurance for home insurance and stuff like that. Now with wood and more steel and all this other stuff that are the building blocks of building homes are going to skyrocket again. You bet damn well that your insurance company is going to be like, "Hey, we have to adjust. So next time you renew your policy, it's going to be more, and you're going to get less."
Hey, Glass. So the answer to your question, Glass, is this why animals don't let the stupid people lead. We can go on to the next subject.
Got it.
Circling back. Yep.
Hey, I was about to do some follow-up questions, but I think that just shut them all down right there. Golly, it's such
People
an event. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah. Oh no, people are gonna feel these effects. Like I don't think people realize this affects everything down to toilet paper. Like the
Yeah.
wood pulp that goes into making toilet paper comes from Canada. Anything wood for building, it's probably coming from Canada. Yes, we have timber here for that, but the difference is, and the reason why the Canadian wood is so important is because they get theirs from above, like from the top of the tree line, and so so it's pressurized differently there. So the wood is a lot stronger there. It's less likely to warp. It's more solid than what we have here. And so we can't really use the wood here like that in the same way we use the wood from China. From Canada. So we are really at their mercy on that. And then, a lot of auto parts come through Canada. Cars are going to get expensive to maintain. It's a bigger problem than I think people realize.
I'll be
But
glad
that-
when he sees another squirrel so he can get distracted and try to
But
screw up.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile,
this
we're still counting down because I swear we just have a bunch of problems right
Yep.
now. That I honestly feel. I mean, you're always going to have something, to talk about or debate about, or just problems in life. But I don't think they will be these. And how many months and years we got left? 1 year and how many months?
No, we have over 2. We actually have over 2 years left. Look, that's the objective truth. That's the
I was
math.
about to say Lynn came through with the objective truth.
People-
He wasn't
yeah.
letting them-
He's right on that one. Objective truth. Yeah, that's facts with the number count.
Yeah, I hope he sees another squirrel.
Oh, he
Oh my
will.
God.
Well, he will. So let me circle, because I was going to push forward, but let me circle back around to that real quick, because you did ask what's next, and I told you I can tell you what's next. And the reason why I can tell you what's next is because there's campaign trails happening.
You trying
And
to catch the
there's-
rain?
Yeah, it's the same thing that happens when he's on the campaign trail. He finds a demon, he creates a problem, he calls Canada the 51st state. He's already done TPS. ICE is starting to happen again. The next thing you know, there's going to be another assassination attempt on somebody. I'm just throwing that out there. That's what,
Wouldn't surprise me.
I'm just
It
saying.
worked the last 2 times.
These
Yeah.
are cycles. These are the distractions that this administration continues.
And again, hold on. Again, with these midterms, with the way they've done all this redistricting and all this, I said there should be no excuse, even though I'm not a Democrat, there should be no excuse for the Democrats to not at least take back the House.
Yeah.
There should be no excuse. Okay?
I can
The Senate
agree.
may be a lot tougher, but that House should be obtainable, and Hakeem Jeffries should be the new majority leader if this country is as screwed up as been stated tonight on this podcast. It should be.
Yeah, I'm not really even a fan of Hakeem Jeffries like that.
Keith, you jumped me.
Oh wait,
Because
I
I'm
have
not
no
a fan
audio.
of him. Hold on.
Can
I'm
you
not a
guys
fan-
hear him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
loud
we
and
can hear
clear.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
hang on. Let me go out and come back. One
No, we
sec.
hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
He can't hear us.
He can't hear us. He can't hear us.
Oh, okay.
So,
We've been there. Trust me. He can't hear us.
oh, man. So it's Keith and Wig right now.
All right.
That are
All right.
having-
So I'll wait till they come.
Man, yeah.
they're battling with their.
Oscar, show your face.
I'm here, Glass.
I got you.
Show your face.
I
Wait,
still can't hear
I'm
nobody.
the elusive man.
So
That's
the
weird.
the issue that we're seeing, and also I'll tell you all this as well. The scare tactics, the fear of voter fraud that they're going to be committing is going to be paramount as well. I just want to throw
Yes.
that out there too.
Yes.
Okay, what I miss?
No, I'm just saying
Scare
that
tactics.
these scare tactics, that the what's next, these are the things that's next, right? They're already posing and positioning themselves to get there, right? So just don't be surprised. You're going to hear you're going to hear about the voter fraud and all this other foolishness. It's about to happen.
No, wait a minute.
But people
now
believe
that
it.
at that point, I agree. But I keep saying this: if this country is in the shape that you guys are saying, there should be no excuse. Well, wait a minute. No legitimate excuse for the Democratic Party to not at least take back that House. There should be no excuse for the Democratic Party to not take back the House if the country is in the shape that it's in under the severe lack of leadership of President Trump.
Richard,
I think the problem we're seeing across the board.
Speaking on behalf of the Democratic Party, I'm the leader on this podcast. There is no excuse. We don't do excuses. There are reasons. And the only reason is if we don't do what?
Vote.
If we don't vote.
But
if we vote,
okay,
it's a wrap.
Okay.
If we perform like we have been lately, we're gonna get what we've always got.
But if the country is as bad, if this country is in such turmoil financially through the war, the military conflict, if this country is so bad off because this individual in office is such a threat to humanity, not just to America, but to world humanity, that doesn't encourage people, whether they're Democrat or not, if they choose to vote for Democrats in their districts for the House, if that's not enough to encourage them after almost 2 years of the Trump leadership, if this doesn't happen, remember now, Lee Brooks hasn't been on in a long time, but I guarantee if those Republicans hold that House and keep the Senate, Lee Brooks will come on here drunk as I don't know what, with his eyes bulging big because he got big eyes, and he will give it to you, and I won't say a word.
Tell us
Hey,
how
Rich.
stupid we are. I'm giving you. Listen, I'm giving you the formula.
And listen,
All we have to do, but just like, and I wanted to say this about Oscar's thing, because I think what Oscar was saying is that we should get the whole gross and then pay the government after we've leveraged our own money. Here's why that won't work. And but we go into the history of taxation. I bet you once upon a time, the Department of Treasury or Revenue waited for us to pay them. And guess what we didn't do?
Oh no, I wasn't suggesting to do that. I was just
Right.
saying
No,
the
I'm just
government
saying
wants us not to know how to financially deal
That's
with
how
our own.
somebody who was listening
financial-
to you could have interpreted that. That's what I'm saying. It could have been interpreted that way. And that's why I wanted to make sure that's what you were not saying.
No,
Because if you give anybody here have a dog?
Damn, I got no audio again.
Yeah, I ain't
Anybody here
got
have a
none
dog?
either, man.
What?
Glass, can you hear me?
Yeah.
they don't
Yep.
have what-
But I can't hear y'all though. Wow, this crazy.
That's this. I don't know what's going on with this platform. Hold on. Keep going.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
Anybody here have a dog?
I got 2 cats.
All right. Well,
Nope.
I don't have a dog, but I can tell you this.
You got a sister?
If we were going on vacation for a week and we left 7 days of food for the dog, when we came
He would
back,
eat it all in one day.
we would come home to a dead dog.
Yeah.
Because the dog would eat all 7 days of food in 1 or 2 sittings.
But yeah,
And
I mean that's where
we behave the same way. That's why they take taxes.
of course.
Because
Yeah.
if they
No, so-
waited to get paid taxes, you'd have to triple the size of the IRS to throw all of us in prison.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because most of
100%.
us would mess that money up.
Yep. I mean that's what I was getting at is yes
I just wanted to help make that clear.
But
on
hold
your
on.
behalf.
Wait, hold on.
That's not what you were saying.
So Lynn, I'm going to accept what you say is the gospel truth. But now I'm going to come right back at you and Oscar and tell you why I'm so much pro-labor and why I believe in pensions. Because when President Bush, the son, was talking about privatizing Social Security, I said that shit won't work. And the American people.
Yeah, because we would mess that money up.
Privatizing Social Security then creates a lot of instability in that system to begin with. Privatizing it then makes it a for-profit program that would go out to private companies who can do whatever and misappropriate it. It's not the same thing as when it's government run and regulated.
Right.
Right. So Social Security.
Listen.
It's already misappropriated now.
Bad
but-
days.
Very true.
Bad days in the stock market, and guess what most people are going to want to do? Pull their money
What's it?
out.
Correct.
Yeah.
They're going to pull all their money out of the investments. This is why we don't do money anymore.
Right.
Because I don't have time for somebody calling me up after the market dropped 5 points,
And then
losing their damn mind. We don't have time for that. So we have people that do money for our clients, but we don't do money for them anymore. Because if the money goes up, it was them.
Right. But
If the money goes
it's
down,
us.
it was us.
It's- Yep.
We ain't got
Yep.
time for that because you don't get paid enough to manage money.
Now,
If you're stealing money,
right.
that's different. Now, if we was Ponzi scheming, that'd be different. If we had the Madoff economy up in here, that would be a different deal.
But hey, you know what's so funny? Now,
Trust
hold on.
me, we get on the phone with people with money and tell them we're gonna double your money in 6 months. And the cash will start. Y'all wouldn't know us anymore. We wouldn't be on the podcast.
But wait a
We'd
minute.
be on the yacht sipping umbrella drinks.
But hold on. Here's the funny thing about this. Now, everybody on the panel agrees to this. If everyone on the panel had that same logic about the trickiness and the evilness of the central bank called the Federal Reserve, because they're no different than Wall Street. It's the same racket, just delivered to you in a different way to give you that hope. So they create that central bank to give you that hope that we're going to have financial stability, and that's a crock. Now, but I've gotten off subject, so I'll go back. I'll stop there. I'll stop.
Yeah. So let me.
I did want to make a point real quick about we were talking about Democrats, Republicans, and winning. Democrats thinking they're going to win the next election. Here's my big problem with this. My big problem with this is the ongoing hope that people will show up. Obama, I will say, was phenomenal when it came to getting people out there and voting because he started young. He was going to the universities. He was going to the people that were coming of age to vote, to go out there and vote. And it became a phenomenon. He did a fantastic job with that. But here's the problem that I currently see. I don't see good leadership left or right.
You read my mind.
So the problem I see is it's the constant going back and forth to, hey, at least it's not Trump. Hey, at least it's not JD Vance. And that doesn't fly anymore. And I think the American people are sick and tired of that. The American people are tired of just going like, okay, I got to vote for the lesser of two evils. We've been doing it for so long, and probably historically we've done it since the beginning. I don't know. But one of the things that really kind of just irks me right now is I feel like instead of progressing, we're digressing. I feel like we're back in the days of Lyndon B. Johnson. Many of those policies that were happening at the time, all this, Council on Un-American Affairs and stuff like that. I just feel like it's just all come back up. We're back in the 1950s, 1960s. And I'm just like, what the hell are we doing as a country? While all these other countries right now are like, and I've mentioned it before. It's tough not being the only main dog at the table. When now you have superpowers like China that are also eating at the table and trying to take more of the dinner, and it causes all this conflict constantly. So we need more desperately than ever. We need smart leadership to take us into the next 40, 50, 60 years, 100 years, 250 years, because that is crucial in the time that we're currently living in. We need somebody that's very much pro education, getting people back and educated, getting, really skilled up, not just in tech, but in other means and other things that can really move us forward. And I don't know why we all disagree, like as American people, all disagree about health, it's just, I don't understand it.
So let me say this, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what I will insert is going to sound ageist. So at the risk of me sounding ageist, we have to get our grandparents out of these offices.
That's not ageist. That's a reality.
No, that's a reality.
That's
a reality.
You want to cap the age?
Say again.
You want to cap the age?
Two-term limit. Thank you.
I don't want to
across the board.
Rich, you gonna
because the president
will be able to run. No.
I don't want to just do 2-term limit. I want to do age limits as well.
Right.
We have to do age limits as well.
What age you got in mind?
Here's why. At a certain age, around a certain age, you cap out at being progressive for what's happening right now.
Right? Yep.
There are people literally sitting in power in Congress that don't know how to use a laptop properly. They
Yep.
don't even know how to use Control V, Control P, Control C, so on and so forth. That's an
Mhm.
issue. If you can't use the basic technological improvements to assist you to do your job, you have to go and be a grandparent somewhere.
But wait a
You
minute. Hold
don't
on.
need
Wait
to
a minute.
be in
Wait a
office.
minute.
You can go
Hold
mentor.
on. Wait. Well,
Mentor the new folks coming in.
hold
We
on a
are
second.
still well, hold on, because
Okay.
we're still fighting against, and freaking Supreme Court just fucking proved it this past summer. We're still fighting against ideologies from dickheads and pieces of shit sitting in power that are stripping movements of voting rights.
Yep.
We
Wait.
still
Wait a
have
minute.
people who are trying to stop
But
motherfuckers from voting.
hold on 1 second. Wait a minute. When you do 2-term limit because you don't want people to abuse power, and that came with FDR because he kept getting voted in. A 2-term limit will actually be at kind of in a sense an age cap. Because if the voters said we want to put somebody who's between 70 to 80 years old in office, the voters should have that right. But to limit the voters from putting somebody in who start to abuse their power because they've gone past 2 terms and now they're out of control, and you have a 2-term limit for the president, then you should also have it for the vice president and for both the House and the Senate because you want to have equality between all three branches.
I'm
Who
not
or
disagreeing. I'm
I
not
don't
disagreeing.
entirely disagree with that.
okay.
I
But
think
what I'm
you know
saying
I with the
hold
age.
on, give me a second, Keith, because I
Okay.
think we're going to be on the same page. I was quiet
Yeah.
because I was listening, and but this is one of the topics that like Peter Griffin, it really grinds my gears,
Mhm.
because if we don't say directly, there has to be these bastards are lawyers. They look for loopholes on purpose. They're
For
not looking
sure.
for the right thing to do. They're looking to subtract the right thing so they can inject a thing, right? So that they can play the way they want to play. And so if we don't directly say, hey, at the age of 65, you are termed out. After 2 terms, you're termed out. At 65, don't put your hat back in the box. Go home.
Well, here's what I have to add to that.
No, there are
So
companies, there are corporations that
th-
have that very language. The
yeah,
CEO, once he's
th-
65, he
Done.
gone.
there's a double-edged sword to that,
It is.
and I didn't see it until now, until where we are right now. Is it's not necessarily the age that makes people uh screw up as badly as they are. It's the feeling of it's the feeling of invincibility. And you know, so I'll give you an example, right? I'm going to divert from Congress for a second, but just, you know, everyone who knows me knows I am absolutely a big Israel supporter. However, um, I despise Bibi Netanyahu. And most of the Israeli people are not fans of him either. But he's a perfect example of, he was doing a phenomenal job when he started. He had a chance to be really a legendary figure for Israel. And as time went on and he kept staying in his position, I mean, he's been in that position since the 90s.
Yeah.
So he started to feel invincible, and I mean the corruption built, and it's literally what they say: power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so he's been there for long enough that now he doesn't really care anymore, because he's like, okay, somebody come see me. And so, while I support Israel, I do not in any way support Bibi in any of his personal endeavors whatsoever. Moving back to Congress, it's kind of the same thing for the congressional members like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell should have been gone. Mitch McConnell, people don't realize he's done more damage to this country than anyone can ever imagine, because he's been doing that damage for decades.
Yeah.
And he through the good old boys club in the state of Kentucky has somehow managed to continue to keep his spot. Now here's where the double-edged sword comes in. In Congress, if Congress gets too young, that also lacks experience. And where
Yes.
the experience comes in is when, stupid aggressive mistakes are not made. And so there's good things that come with the age, and there's bad things that come with the age. And so, someone being 65 years old doesn't necessarily tie into, cognitive cognitive decline. It's really on an individual basis. But then there's also the case to be made that the boomers, that generation,
Right.
as much as they built in this country, they've also fucked up enough in this country that maybe it's time for them to step out of the way. My thing is this: the next generation, because I'm not thinking about this one in terms of where the pitfalls are, although there are plenty of them now. The next generation, this is the first time Gen Z is the first generation that is not more intelligent than the generation that came before it. It's actually in the history of humanity, they're the first generation to decline intellectually. So, let's say even now with millennials, we take over Congress, we do a great job. Gen Z comes in when we're 65 and have the experience, then we got problems because they're not as intelligent, as a whole.
And
And
will repeat itself because they
Yep.
don't know.
Hey, you know
You
what?
don't
Now,
have-
Keith,
These
See,
folks can still be mentors.
you know
They
what,
can still
Keith?
be mentors, and they can still, but they can't have power.
So
They
check
can't
this.
continue to hold on to power. That's the
Yeah.
issue. It's the power
Yeah.
that they're in the society that I'm in several states, right? There are people in positions that don't like black folks still, right?
Mhm.
Especially in the South. And because those old folks don't like black people still, they can't meet and see eye to eye with folks. And the funny but not so much so funny saying is you just gotta wait till certain people die off. No, stop voting these fuckers in.
So
That too.
if you put term, this is so simple. In the state of California, they even got it right. Amazingly, they have term limits for the governor and for both houses, the assembly and the Senate, because people were getting voted in and staying in a position of power and becoming corrupted. Now, in the United States, our president is termed out. And if you can term him out, you should be able to term out both the House and the Senate for equality between the executive branch and the legislative branch. And if you want to take it a step further and say, well, if you're going to make those two equal, then the judicial branch should be made equal too. Those judges should have 2 terms and equal them out.
This is crazy. This is crazy because I actually am agreeing with Rich on
hold on, Keith. Wait.
multiple
Wait.
multiple
Hold on,
major
Keith,
subjects.
Hold on, Keith, because you get ready to disagree with me.
I'm sure I'm waiting for that part.
You know what's coming with Israel. Now, hold on. I support Israel's independence, I believe May 12, 1948.
Same.
Okay. And I've talked to enough Jewish people to know there's different factions within the Jewish community in America and in Israel. Smart enough to understand that. All right. If we had a term limit, and I don't tell Israel what to do because Israel is Israel, but maybe if the Israeli people had term limits on their leadership, maybe Benjamin Netanyahu would have been termed out. I say maybe.
No question.
I don't know.
Like
All right.
No. That's a fact.
Right.
Cuba back in the day with Fidel, because he was there. He was a dinosaur too.
Yeah.
Right. That's correct.
Which
So-
it's
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Oscar.
I was gonna say one of the kind of like trying to distill down everything that we've been talking about, but something I really believe in and something I really fear at all times is super majority of anything. The super majority of the left,
Totally
the super
agree.
majority of the right, the super majority of older people, younger people.
Yeah.
There always has to be a mix. There always has to be an opposition because the opposition keeps you sharp.
Yeah,
Things
Absolutely.
an angle that you didn't see, they'll point out. You're gonna hate them for that moment, but then you're gonna be like, "Holy crap, I didn't see it that way." So now I'm gonna rewrite the bill to be able to include you because now we're working. Now we're copacetic here. We're both cooking here. I didn't see that angle. Or,
Well, what you just said-
we may just.
What you just said is so spot on, And also, just to add to that, I think that there need to be single issue bills only. I think that should be a law that gets passed
100%.
in Congress. Single
Yep.
issue bills. Don't put pork in the bills. Don't try
Yep.
to lump other things that are detrimental in with something that people really need and want, because that's counterproductive and it's hurting
Yeah.
people. So I
Yeah.
totally agree with you on that.
And
Well,
and
hold on.
literally
Well,
submit the bill the night before that it's actually going to be voted on. When it's a
hey,
1,000-page bill or
Yep.
2,000-page bill, it's like, go screw yourselves.
well, hold
Yep.
on a second. Well, since Keith Ross feels that strongly about single bills, now I'm going to find out about Keith Ross now. So we've been agreeing. So when I make the comment, I can't stand AIPAC, then I think I should get a pushback and say, well, if you can't stand AIPAC, Richard, do you believe in any super PAC? I do not believe in super PACs. I don't believe in political contributions to these candidates from these political action committees, whether they're AIPAC. I don't care if it's Black PAC or anybody else. I can't stand any of that. So when they did that United States Supreme Court decision,
I should say
Citizens United, when they did that, I said, that's a problem. And as long as you allow political money or people to use their money to support candidates, even though that's their freedom of speech, that's tricky, freedom of speech. But as long as I know I can have a super PAC run ads for me, and if that super PAC, I'm not saying AIPAC, it could be the Energy PAC from the Middle East. It could be any trade company. Well, hold on. I can go Microsoft. I can go Google, Meta, any of them.
Well, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about PACs and you're talking about lobbying.
Okay, either one. PACs and lobbying, to me, it's all same thing. If I got Keith Ross sitting saying, well, Richard, I can only give you 3,500 individually, but what I can do is me and my company, don't worry about your TV ads. We'll run that for you, and we'll make sure you get elected or reelected. When you allow that type of action to happen in America, then you really are really establishing only a two-party system in a sense. That's my personal opinion.
Well, we have a two-party system. It's one of the biggest problems with this country. This country was never designed to be a two-party system, and now you're either red or you're blue, and you're with us or you're with them. Truth be told, I can speak for myself here. I have never felt so politically homeless in my life, because I can't fucking stand MAGA or the right, because the corruption is on another level. They steal from the poor and give to the rich. They use trickle down economics that don't work, and they never trickle down. And Republicans, if you look at their policies are built on destroying things they don't like instead of building things that they do. So as to the contrary to that, Democrats, the other side of that is Democrats do all the building. Democrats create the programs. Democrats actually put things in place to advance us forward. But my issue with Democrats, there's a couple of them. One of which is that Democrats have not evolved to the current structure of the way politics work, because Democrats have been so let's be ethical and follow everything to the letter of the law as it was intended, when the other side isn't playing fair. If you give a Republican 10 minutes in office, they will do everything they can, bend every rule, twist every word to get what they want. But when Democrats have power, when we had the supermajority, when we had both houses of Congress and the presidency, we didn't do what was necessary to safeguard the country from where we're at now. The other issue I have with Democrats is that the far left has now become increasingly anti-Semitic, and the Democratic Party has become infiltrated with that. And now there's democratic socialism on the rise. And socialism is not part of being a Democrat, and it shouldn't be allowed. But Democrats are allowing it because the Democratic Party needs all the support that they can get, and they right now don't care where they get it, because it's all about getting Trump out of office. And by the time Trump is out of office, we're going to have another problem. We're going to have the socialist problem.
So hold on, Keith.
That's
Wait, hold on.
on
Wait,
both sides. They they literally play to a base just to maintain
But
power.
Absolutely.
but hey, hold on. I want to respond to that. What you said about the Republican Party, I can't dispute. What you said about the Democratic Party, I can't dispute, but I can add to it.
Sure.
And this kind of goes into the conversation with Brandon Tatum. See,
The fact that you're agreeing with me right now, that's a high five moment.
No, and you're right. You're right, because we haven't gone deep into that Israel thing. But hold on a second. I want to go back.
Yeah.
Because you and I are kind of in a similar boat. Because when I left the Democratic Party, usually when black people get mad at the Democratic Party, what do? They become a registered Republican. That's
Yeah.
I did not do that. So the Democratic Party ran me out of my position as president. They ran me out because I was going to treat the white Republicans, and maybe some of those white Republicans are racist, but they're in California, so we're not quite sure. So I got ran out of my position because the Democratic Party did not want me to treat everyone equally and take us out of politics. So they ran me out because I was going to treat everyone in the union, regardless of their race, their political affiliation, their sexual orientation, regardless of their job occupation. I was going to treat everybody the same. And they ran me out. So I am also without a political party because I feel so strongly about universal health care. But here's where it gets tricky about the far left and the far right. Some of these people on the far right who claim that they're so pro-Israel, they're liars. They are anti-Semitic.
That's a fact.
Some of them. Now, Mike,
You're not going to meet a Nazi Democrat anytime soon.
But check this out, though. Mike Huckabee is pro-Israel, but he's pure racist towards black people. Okay. Now, some of these far left Democrats can't stand Jews because they say that the Jews is giving the Palestinians holy hell. That's a deeper, darker issue. But some of these far left Democrats and these far right Republicans, here's something they have in common. They're both against a world government. They're both against a world government. And this is where things get tricky. Because sometimes when the far left says, hey, let's just give out free checks and let's have universal health care, along with some of the moderate Democrats, they're not wrong. But when the far right says we got to control our border, because if you don't control your border, you lose your country, they're right too. And both
but here's the thing though, is that right before the election, we had the most comprehensive border bill probably in modern history. And it would have solved our border issue. It was bipartisan. It was unanimously bipartisan. And you know what happened? Donald Trump called his buddies in Congress. He said, you idiots, I'm campaigning on this. If you fix this, I have no chance. And what did they do the next day? They broke from everyone and they shot us down.
That's correct.
And so, that was Republicans who did that.
Hold on. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But it should have never gotten to that point to begin with. But the big thing about the border situation, that's a big issue in this country. I'm for enforcing the border.
Same.
Now, am I for jumping on people and stuff? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because I know that some of that's going to be racially profiled, and I know.
Brother, it's already happening. It's already happening, and now removing TPS for Haitians. You think that's only going to be for Haitians?
That's correct.
That's correct. They're gonna say, oh well, that boy fit the profile,
But wait a minute.
They're going to deport people that don't belong, deported American citizens. As long as their skin is darker than their comfortability of whiteness, they're at risk.
All the while South Africans that are white are getting open door policy.
That's correct too. But here's the problem though. When the U.S. Supreme Court, and this is why we were having a conversation earlier before you got on, Keith, about when courts rule on things that you agree with and when they rule on things you don't agree with. When the United States Supreme Court said that basically you can't really racially profile, but basically you can in regards to ICE enforcing the immigration.
Yep.
That came from the United States Supreme Court.
And who appointed those justices?
You know who appointed.
You already know.
You already know. But again, this is how political. So if a Democrat had been in office, he would have made sure that Democrats got appointed to the Supreme Court. So
hold it. Wrong.
No, impartial.
Your boy Mitch stopped Obama.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
When Obama was trying to
Right.
appoint
That's
Merrick
correct.
Garland,
That's
when
correct.
Merrick Garland was up for the role,
Right.
Mitch McConnell said, "Oh, well,
with that being the
it's too
exception,
close."
if that hadn't been stopped by the Senate Majority Leader, a Democrat, because Democratic presidents normally appoint people who are aligned with them, and the Republicans do the
No,
same.
that's not true. Democrats have historically appointed people that are impartial, which is what they're supposed
Allegedly.
to be. No, bro,
Go ahead.
they are supposed to be impartial. That's the whole point. Is that it disqualified. It used to disqualify someone from being a Supreme Court justice if they had strong political views in either direction.
Well, hold on, Mr. Ross.
And that's why those guys. Hold on. That's why they lied about their position on Roe v. Wade. So they could get the job.
Absolutely.
Once they got the
Absolutely.
job,
Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett both said they had no plans to overturn Roe v. Wade, and the first time it went up,
that's correct. But again, we go back in the past. What you said, Mr. Ross, is kind of accurate, but all that accuracy, that's where I got age on you. It stopped, and it stopped when Clarence Hill got appointed. That's when that political stuff really.
You mean Clarence Thomas?
I'm sorry, Clarence.
Hold on. Where the hill come from? Where the hill come from?
Well, that's you see the memory issue. That's where the age comes in.
You got me on that one. All right, go ahead.
Speaking of Clarence Thomas, right? Because I was gonna put his name on here also, but I decided not to, and I just wanted to level the playing field.
All right, we can
Clarence Thomas is Samuel L. Jackson in Django.
Oh my!
That's who he is.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna argue with Clarence Thomas.
Hey, can I interject something real quick?
Yeah.
That I heard while I stepped away. With regard to Democratic Socialists, I just got two words: Tea Party.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened to the Tea Party?
They're MAGA.
Yep.
They're gone.
The
Tea Party movement is
They
gone.
morphed into MAGA.
Yep.
Like he
And
said,
because we spend here's where we always get messed up.
bamboozled.
We spend too much time on the exception when we should be focused on the rule. You know what I'm hearing now is we don't want boys in girls sports.
And when is that such a political issue?
Exactly.
That's the football they want to kick around?
Boys,
You're right.
Boys in girls sports does not happen.
Oh, it's happened a couple of times, but it's
trend.
Well, I knew what you meant.
Listen to my words. Because they're using the words to F with you.
To drum it up. They just
It's
drum it up.
not boys.
I totally agree with you.
Girls sports.
Yeah.
Never. And
Well,
really, if you want to be accurate, say men in women's sports.
Yeah.
That's what you need to say, but that doesn't move the needle. But when you say boys, in girls sports, all of a sudden, now the exception.
So, I
100% agree with you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Exception is now.
Hold on, this is funny.
Focus when you should be focused on the rule.
And I know we're going to this Tatum and Stephen A. Smith. That's the hot stuff. But here's the funny thing. I'm still waiting for the Democrats to come out to tell me that there's only two sexes, male and female. I'm still waiting for that statement to come out.
I'll make a statement. There's only two sexes, male and female.
You don't count. You don't count.
I want to indulge that.
Okay.
I want to dive into that a little bit.
Can you turn up your mic, Jay?
Yeah.
He's been soft talking all night. Thank you, Stephanie. You've been talking all soft.
Yeah, the moderator gotta have the strongest mic. Come on, man.
My bad.
I just realized you got the closest voice to Barry White, and Rich sounds like Forrest Whitaker.
Oh my god!
Every time he talks, I hear Forrest Whitaker.
I don't know why you hear his voice.
My mic.
I don't know.
You just sound far away.
Oh, because I was leaning back.
Okay.
I was leaning back a lot. So I will let me ask that question. Why does it matter for the Democratic Party to say whether or not there are two sexes? Why is that important?
I don't think it is.
It's a political game. Because if you're
Yeah.
really a constitutionalist and you believe in the Constitution, you have no opinion as to what a free person wants to do with their lives. As long as it's not affecting
Yeah.
somebody else's life,
Yeah.
a constitutionalist will say, hey, they have the freedom to do whatever the hell they want, to love whoever the hell they want, and have whoever
Yep.
they want in bed. And anything other than that is stepping and kicking the Constitution.
Yeah. And in regard to men and women's sports, I say that with air quotes. You know, my feeling is this. You know, especially based off of what Oscar just said. You know, he said when it's affecting other people. Now, there when a man it becomes a transgender woman and goes into women's sports, I do think that's it's a touchy subject because I fully support, you know, anyone who wants to, you know, live in whatever reality they can create for themselves. You know, if a man wants to be a woman, if a woman wants to be a man, and they decide that that's their path, cool. I fully support it. Love them, all good. But
Agreed.
when a man transitions to a woman and enters into women's sports, it's already been shown. It's just they have a massive physiological advantage, and it's not.
Well, hold
It-
on, hold on, Keith, hold on.
Keith Ross,
Keith,
Ross,
you're
mark
leaving.
the
Hold on.
calendar. We'll be
Hold
doing
on.
Shabbat. We'll be doing Shabbat Saturday, Keith. We'll be
Hold
doing
on.
Shabbat on Saturday.
No,
Hold on. You're leaving a very important part out.
sure.
When males transition into female sports, they have to take medication to bring down their level.
Testosterone.
Right.
They get feminized athletically.
Right.
They're not LeBron James in the WNBA. And that's what the Republicans are trying to put in your small mind. That's what they're trying to implant.
Well, not
Hold on,
exactly.
Keith,
I mean, yes, that is what they're
Keith,
trying to do.
Keith, wait a minute.
But
Hey, Keith,
what-
wait. Hold on, Keith. Let me say this, because I'm in the state of California where we're having a trans girl competing and winning in the track in high school. Okay.
in women's or men's?
The trans girl was a boy who's identifying as a girl.
Okay.
He's competing in high school girls track, and he's taking first place. And what they're doing is they're having 2 first place trophies, one for him and then one for the girl.
So I think that becomes a little convoluted in those situations. You know, there have been many cases where someone who transitioned broke records in women's sports. And then it leaves the question, is there an asterisk next to it? Was
Is that
it fair?
the swimming? Wasn't the swimming, I think?
There was one in swimming, there was one in track, and I think there was like one other instance. But you know, it's a tough situation because I want everyone to feel like they get to live the life that they want to live.
Correct.
You know, it's just it's like, what does that look like? And and what I'm saying is not coming from a place of hate. What I'm saying is coming from a place of, you know, what's fair.
So, you know, this conversation of can you still support the gay community but not support trans girls playing in girls sports is kind of almost the same as saying, can I support Israel but I don't like how Israel treats Palestine? This is tricky. This is tricky because it's such a nuanced.
It's not tricky, and it's not the same thing. The reason why it's not the same thing is
I don't lose sleep over it at night.
Well,
You know,
but
yeah.
Why do people watch sports?
For the competition.
Yeah.
They're watching for competition, right? If people
And pride in their representatives.
Yeah. So if it happened, right? Because there's always a point of origin for everything that starts before it reaches the status of normalcy. The point of origin, if there was a sport at the point of origin where both men and women have equal talent and they're competitive, gender goes out the window. Sooner or later, gender goes out the window because people are watching for competitive, the sport of it. It's not because they're so focused on how many chromosomes somebody has or doesn't, and it'll still make money, right? But
You know what's
it takes an initial insertion of letting it. I just say let's experiment.
wait
Let's
a minute.
experiment.
You know
Do
what?
it.
I know
See
a
what
man.
happens.
Listen, I know a man that had 3 kids, had 2 beautiful girls. Now, I'm willing to bet you, Mr. Glass,
Mhm.
that man would say, "Oh no, ain't no boy. I don't care if he did make a transition playing with my 2 girls in sports. I'm willing to bet you that." But maybe
Sure.
I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
Hey,
no,
hey,
you might
Richard,
be right.
Richard.
But
I
he's
dare,
serious.
listen, Richard, I dare
ahead.
someone in California
Right.
to take a look at if this guy who's dominating, or this trans that's dominating track and field, are the times that of his competitors improving or descending.
Then
I
I
would
don't know.
bet. I would bet because of the C word, which is competition,
Yeah.
that he's making them. The trans is making the times better. And the Keith's point about all these records being broke, you know where they're not being broken at? The Olympic level,
Yeah.
the professional level.
Because they don't allow it. They don't
No,
allow
no,
it.
no, no, no. They
No, they do
allow it.
not. No, they
If
do
you,
not.
once again, if you
Huh?
regulate,
Right.
yes.
You show me the Olympic sport where the IOC has said a transgender, regardless of the.
Wasn't
the
the argument on
steroid-
the last Olympics about the boxer?
That was a
Yeah, but
female-
she actually was not transgender.
I know she. Listen.
Yeah.
I know she was.
It was in track.
I know she was.
It was in
But
track.
what did the Republicans say?
It was in track too.
What did the Republicans say?
That
That he was a man.
Yeah. But it was
And
she
guess
just
what?
looked masculine. She was
Right.
not
Right. And we
transgender.
all
Yeah.
know if we
And I
follow
felt
the
so bad
Olympics-
for her.
If we follow the Olympics, we know about that woman who looks like a dude, but is a biological woman.
This comes right, you're right, and this comes back to the profiling that's happening all across this country.
Right.
And I think the biggest problem, the biggest disservice to everyone in this country is that what they have done is convince us that we are each other's enemies.
Yeah.
boogeyman.
And has anybody
we
ever
are-
said that Serena was a man? Has anyone ever said that?
I've heard people say that,
Yeah.
which is stupid. It's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Racist.
Yes.
And the Chinese.
And they're saying it about Michelle Obama.
Racist.
Oh, that's-
And the
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
You
keeping
know?
it sports. Oh yeah, that's the
No, I got you. I got you.
And it's
Well, I
ridiculous.
appreciate that. I appreciate
The
that because we do
Chinese
gotta
basketball-
go ahead.
women's
Go ahead, Steph.
basketball, team was also well, yeah, because some of them looked they just didn't look. There was nothing feminine about them, and a lot of questions came up when they were playing the U.S. team. What was it?
Yeah.
The last Olympics.
Yeah, but that was the 3-on-3 competition, not the 5-on-5.
No, just like when they were playing, looking at the women, it was just like, whoa, are those men or women? They were women, but they all looked masculine because they had like the short kind of buzz cuts and they were tall and there was no shape to them or no curves, I should say. So it was a lot of questions or just people making fun.
Right.
They look like dudes.
My point is that at the highest levels of competition, this is not even an argument.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
And-
but it's
and
the
if this is-
exception. It's the exception that
the
we can
W-
use to distract people.
The WNBA right now is trying to figure out how to keep Enes Kanter Freedom and Roy.
No. See, they're being assholes.
They are being
That's
assholes.
true.
They're men.
They are being assholes.
They're men.
That's true.
They're not. Neither one of them is trans. They're men.
But they're trying to make a point that if you don't allow men into the league, I'm gonna stop. That's fine.
No,
Good.
they're
Y'all
just
can
being
have
equal.
the victory on
Because
this.
you know what they both have in common? They couldn't play at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Enes Kanter played at the NBA.
He
live
couldn't
up
play,
to
but he
the
couldn't play
competition.
at that level. He
Okay.
played in the
That's
NBA,
competition.
but he couldn't play at
Yeah.
that level.
He couldn't live
fine.
up to
That's why
the
he's not in the
competition
NBA.
at that level.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But to cut back to our but to cut back to our original point of this discussion, because that was just one talking point that was referenced. Back to what we were talking about, which I think, so Lynn had mentioned, black people, and they don't if they don't like something from one party, they switch to the other one. I think. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
no,
me. That was me.
that was Rich. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
that
thought it
was
was Ren
black
who said that.
dude.
But
I'm just-
but what I what I do notice is this, and I don't think all black people switch to the other party, but
Right.
what I do notice is this. And I mean, most of my friends are black, so I have this conversation a lot. And so what I get from the frustration is that black people have been disenfranchised for so long in this country that they're just looking for anybody who will represent them in a manner that gives them dignity in this country, and that prioritizes their needs. And I think when it comes to Obama, the people in the black community that criticize him for not doing things that have been said, like reparations are very, very difficult because it's been so long. It's a logistical nightmare. But like what he created with Obamacare and with the Affordable Care Act directly affected the black communities in the most positive way of any president in decades, because those people in those communities were able to benefit and actually finally have health care. A lot of them that didn't. I think it was like 11 million people, they couldn't have afforded health care,
Keith,
finally had it.
Keith, he
And
saved
so
lives. He saved lives.
absolutely saved lives.
Lives were saved.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
let me
absolutely.
And
Let me-
Jimmy
He
Kimmel's son was one
He
of
do
them.
that for black people.
You know what? I strongly agree with Lynn and Keith on this. I strongly agree.
Yeah.
And I agree even more by saying I never expected President Obama to do anything for Black America. I wanted him to do things for all of America as equal. But not many black people agree with me on that. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well,
Mr. Glass.
I'll agree. I'll agree with you on that because what I keep telling people, and unfortunately, we have a horrible precedence in this country of not, well, at least right now, of the person holding that seat not living up to this. The person that's occupying the seat isn't the president of a race. They're the president of a country,
Yeah.
of the entire United States of America. You can't lead a country and only do for one specific group of people.
Absolutely.
That's not leadership.
Yep.
That's favoritism. Now,
No, we'll call it what it is. That's racism.
Well, yeah, that's racism. Now,
Yeah.
This specific administration with its evils, right? They don't care about that. But any other particular or specific point in time, we could directly call it out and say exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So President Obama was not just the president of Black America. He was the president of the United States of America.
And he was a leader.
Yeah,
You
so
know.
you can't just say, well, I'm just going to pluck the black people out and we're going to give them reparations, and then we're going to do everybody else in the wash.
And shame on black people who expected him to do that.
Agreed.
They don't understand how leadership. They don't understand how
Keith,
leadership works.
Hey, Keith, when you see me and Lynn agreeing, you know it's bad.
I know.
It could be good, but that's.
I mean, that's what happens. That's what happens when you have a president in the White House that's so racist he hates to read. Not because he's as dumb as he is, but because the white pages have black words.
Right.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Stephen Miller only reads the red letters in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me stop.
Y'all have it.
Yeah, let me stop. Okay. So we're talking about, and I'm gonna start saying his name whenever I have to refer to him like this. Former officer Brandon Tatum.
Just call him Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon.
Like Cheyenne. Let's just call him Brandon.
Hold on now. That's Dr. Cheyenne. Get that
Well,
Dr. Cheyenne.
Allegedly. so yeah, right. The reason why I will say former is because he tries to put that in front of his name as a point of credibility, right? And then we're also talking about Stephen A. Smith. Now, the question that I have for the panel is, all things considered, and we won't spend too much time tonight because it's almost we're being on for 2 hours and 19 minutes talking about very valid things. But are they the same type of person for towards our community? Are they the same people? Are they committed to and committing the same actions? Is their rhetoric similar, and does it have the same effect?
Well, I think Stephen A. Smith is busy starting his podcast called The Family Hairline.
Oh my God.
but Stephen A. Smith, I think now he's kind of just realizing that just because he backed the side that he backed, they're not backing him back. And he's like the Clarence Thomas of commentary. He's I can't stand him anymore. I used to
can't?
love him. I used to think he was entertaining, but the second he got into politics and the second he started speaking up for the guy who wants to keep him down.
No, wait. He doesn't speak up for Trump. No, he doesn't.
Oh yes, he
No,
did.
he
No,
has.
I watched
He
him too
has.
close.
He has. Richard, he
Absolutely.
has.
He had. Okay, well, go ahead, Keith. Go ahead. I'll let you
has.
finish. Go ahead. I'll let you finish, Keith.
Oh no, he just like Stephen A. Smith. It doesn't matter what he says now because if he backpedals and switches sides and takes a stand against Trump, it just comes off as disingenuous because he didn't get the treatment that he wanted. But
Now,
the second that
to be
huh?
fair to Stephen A. Smith, he has outwardly said that he is independent. He doesn't
Thank you.
take a
Thank you.
Republican stance or Democratic stance.
Thank you.
He says he
Yeah.
has an unbiased approach and he looks at both sides.
He does. He does. I strongly agree with. I strongly agree with that.
I have a
Because-
question.
Go ahead. Lee.
What program has Stephen A. Smith appeared on that is the opposite of Fox News? The
God,
opposite
Chris
of
Cuomo, News Nation. Chris Cuomo,
That part.
News Nation. Chris Cuomo, News Nation, repeatedly over and over and over again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So.
Oh, did he? Actually, you know what? I think you're right. I think I saw that newscast.
Yeah. So
But while he was on that, though, here's the asterisk. Whose side was he speaking on behalf of?
Neither one, because when he had that speaking tour with Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly, all three are kind of arguing because Chris Cuomo is trying to quote separate himself from the Democratic Party allegedly because how they did his brother allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. And Bill O'Reilly claims he's independent, but he's always giving softballs.
Bill O'Reilly's
President
no.
Trump.
He's
Bill
not-
Bill O'Reilly is a far right
Yeah.
moron.
We
He's
know.
So
That would be like
and look,
if
and I won't
Rush Limbaugh was
argue
still
that.
alive.
I won't
That'd be
dispute
like
that.
Rush
Oh,
Limbaugh
I know.
saying I'm
So,
independent.
but here's what I will say. They're both college graduates. I like that. Black men being college educated. They both take care of their children. I like that. They both have significant. I didn't know Brandon Tatum had over 3 million YouTube followers. I didn't know. Wow. So that's significant. Of course, Stephen A's First Take, highest rated sports show for a lot of years running with ESPN. Stephen A has tried to bring a lot of attention to the HBCUs because he's an HBCU and he's a Q. He's a Q dog. My personal opinion. Remember when he went after Jasmine Crockett and I said, no, Stephen A, you can't talk about that sister like that. Even if you feel that she's really wrong and you're sincere, call her on the phone because that's going to look like you're attacking a black woman. Okay? Then when he went after Serena, I think he went after Serena first. And then the husband came on First Take and clowned him, and he got quiet. I remember that. I watched that show. That man, but I said, well, he has to defend his wife if he's trying to stay married. And he's married to a black woman. Yeah, you better get on there and act a fool. And that's what he did. He did. No, he did. And Stephen A shut his mouth. And I said, well, did Stephen A shut his mouth because Disney said, if you say something against that man's wife again or against him, you'll be up out of here. I don't know. So
why is he so outwardly boisterous when it does come to black women.
I agree. I agree.
always wonder what his problem was
Yeah, I agree.
or
What you
is.
got, Lynn?
All right. Stephen A. Smith is a punk.
A clown.
No, he's a punk. he only goes after people he feels that he can beat.
Yep.
And I used to like, you know when I really liked Stephen A. Smith? When he got fired. He got fired. ESPN fired him a few times. Not for doing something wrong, but just because the numbers weren't where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I agree. I liked him when he got fired.
Right.
I like my black people unemployed.
Now, here's the thing. So here's the thing. Officer Tatum, a college graduate that went to a PWI.
PWI.
Yeah.
Prison with inmates.
Predominantly white institution.
What is it?
Predominantly white institution.
Like U of L.
Well, hold on, Mr. Lynn. Since he went to U of A, do you talk about me the same way? Because I went to a predominantly Arizona State.
Listen. Here you are getting offended. I went to a PWI.
So
Okay.
I did too.
Temple University has 35,000 students. Most of them do not look like me, brother.
Okay. I didn't know.
Okay.
What's my percentage?
I don't know.
At mine.
Oh, probably 99%.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
You know, it's not offensive. I'm just talking about. I'm giving you his foundation.
Gotcha.
Because I listened to him say that he grew up in the hood and he had this hate white people mentality.
He went to all black high school.
PWI, and then he saw how
He's
the
from
other.
Texas. He's from Texas. He's from Texas.
Okay. He still was anti-white until he went to college. That's my point.
Okay.
But and his YouTube followers, if he got 3 million, 2.95 of them are white.
Okay.
I would lay money. I would go to Vegas, find a window, and lay money on that.
I don't dispute that.
So for me, Tatum is he hates himself. I don't throw.
I totally agree with that. He's a moron.
Right. I don't throw the word hate around because when I heard him talking about Michelle Obama, and then he threw his wife up on the screen, I thought he was going to throw. Give me a fine white woman, Richard. Give me a fine white woman. I know you got one queued up.
Oh, you know I do. I can count them out now. I know sisters and white women.
Right. I thought he was going to throw up a dime piece.
Listen, if you want to go Gwyneth Paltrow, Diane Lane.
Yeah, I thought he was going to throw up a dime piece. He did not. Now, Michelle Obama is not everybody's cup of tea, but to me, she is a beautiful black woman because when I evaluate women, I evaluate the outside, but I also evaluate the inside.
And the brain.
And the brain is inside. So
keep talking. Keep talking right now.
Heart, but she's a beautiful woman to me.
Yeah, she is.
And for him
Michelle Obama is all class.
And then say shit like, I don't know if she's a man or not. See,
that shouldn't even have been a discussion.
Right.
Honestly, it's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful.
Officer Tatum said those words. I guarantee you Stephen A. Smith would never even think those words.
I agree with that too.
That's the difference. Stephen A. Smith is a brother who is struggling to manage his power.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Right now, his power management is off. It's not balanced. And I don't even know who could get in his ear to balance it. Because right now, who has his ear? Powerful, straight white men.
And he's still trying to stay relevant.
Allegedly straight.
Where he can land next.
Right. Well, no, he's entrenched.
Allegedly.
He's entrenched at Disney and ESPN. And in order for him to run for president, he would have to give all that up.
Yeah.
Wait, Stephen A. Smith is considering running for president?
He would lose all of his money and lose the election.
Yes, he
is. He wait, is he really considering running for president?
No, but that's clicks and giggles.
Yeah.
That's what he's about now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's saying stuff, but you going after our Joy Reids, you going after our Jasmine Crockett's, you going after our Carrie Champions.
Oh yeah, that really pissed me off. I was
Oh,
like,
whoa, he said something about Carrie? Hold on now.
The tall UCLA product is in the building now. Look, we got.
You don't talk about Carrie now.
But you
don't play that shit.
You listen. And for what the National Association of Black Journalists did, I was very happy to see, because he got exactly what he deserved. And you got that thumbs down because you went after your own for clicks and giggles. You don't need to do that.
You know,
and listen, where he is right now, he don't need to go after nobody. But we all love when he was standing in front of that 6'9" brother who said, "Keep my son's name out your mouth.
Out your mouth.
Before we go behind this building."
Oh, LeBron James?
And I'll show you a thing or two. Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, because it wasn't a thing he could do but keep his mouth shut. And we all saw when it was somebody he cannot beat verbally or physically. We saw how he moved then.
You know what? You know what, Lynn? I can't dispute a word that you said.
I didn't think about it.
I can't dispute a word that you said, because there is a big difference between Brandon.
But you know when we all love Stephen A. Smith? When he was number 2 to Skip Bayless.
I didn't.
I kind of agree.
When he was the number 2 for Skip Bayless, we all love Stephen A. Smith
because they balance each other off.
With Skip Bayless.
Well, and also back then he wasn't saying all the nonsense that he said.
Guess what? I tell you, y'all look up the clip. Stephen A. Smith said "nigga please" on air.
He did.
And guess who kept him on air?
Skip.
Oh, Skip.
Skip Bayless.
So you know what's funny about
Bayless kept him on air.
Hey, you know what he
said? "Nigga please."
You know what? Hey, you know what's funny about this? Because I see what Stephen A. tries to do, and I think he does mean well, and I think he's a great dad to his girls. I really believe that.
How many girls does he have?
2, and the one girl is always on
5.
Huh?
I've heard as many as 5.
No, he has 2 girls. The one girl is always on the show with him sometimes. She looks just like.
That's the only one I thought he had.
She's so sweet, and I don't like talk.
You saw that, right?
Yeah, I saw that clip.
She gonna put him in a home when he ages up.
Because I bet you they dog walk him.
But even though she does all the talking, it's that baby girl who you don't see. She's the one that carries the power. But anyway, I think he tries really hard. But it's funny about Skip Bayless, because if it wasn't for Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp may have made it on his own because of the football, but Stephen A., I'm not sure if it wasn't for Skip Bayless. So Stephen A. really got a big help by Skip saying, "Hey, I'm going to choose you to help me run this show." And then he created this great show, and then he left and kept it going at Fox. And then eventually, whatever happened, he eventually lost out.
Skip couldn't manage his power either, and he messed up with Shannon Sharp.
Fair enough. I can't argue that.
If he had to manage that, they would probably still have a show.
So here's the point that I'm getting to. You help me get to the point, Lynn. When you're a man or a woman with great power, Benjamin Netanyahu, President Trump, President Obama, anybody, a person who has great power has the ability to communicate and influence. Once they've been in that position for a period of time, it does start to affect you to where you think you can say and do anything.
No, you get drunk with power.
Yeah, a CEO.
Good power and bad power. Then always say
once you know what? Allegedly, only the kings in the Old Testament can have all that power for so long and still good. And even King David had some character decisions.
Now hold up, Rich. When you go through that whole thing of those kings had power for very short times.
Very true.
They were always corrupt. They always just go.
I thought King David and King Solomon had power for an extended amount of time.
Oh, they did, but like when you go through like all of the different kings and stuff, you get sick of hearing how they fell for powers. They been there for 16, 14. And it's like they got drunk. And they would always go back to the idol worship no matter what happened. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Keith?
So check this out.
Okay,
Stephanie.
here.
This goes back to the point I was making about Stephen A. You go on TV. You ain't the prettiest brother out here. You go on there, coming from New York. You know you can run your mouth as good as because New Yorkers can run their mouth from them 5 boroughs. Because East Coast cats got it in them, Lynn. You know.
Hey.
All right.
Hey.
All right. Yo, my man. So listen. He goes on that show and he's talking every single day. He's going to say some stuff that's wrong eventually. And the more money that they pay him and they fire him and then they allow him to come back and start over again, and he builds himself back up and his salary keeps increasing over his next contract. And I do feel like sometimes some of these, quote, white liberals who act like they like black people, but they don't, I think they use him sometimes. I think, but I can't prove it. So he has to keep those people happy, keep the money rolling in.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a balance.
And then when Skip leaves,
he's not striking it right now.
Look, when Skip leaves the show, everybody's thinking, well, can you keep this show going without this white man? And then Stephen A is able to keep the show going by going extra.
Now hold on, what's my man's name? The white dude that was with him.
Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman. Now he got rid of Max.
Yeah.
Because Max was people were saying, damn, Max is blacker than Steven.
Yeah.
Because Max came with more facts.
And he was balanced.
And he could go at Stephen A because Stephen A didn't know. He don't know all the sports. That's the first thing.
Right.
You know, he can't speak to all the sports like Max can. And Max is a boxing dude.
Yeah.
That's where he came from. He came from boxing.
Exactly.
Stephen A. Smith got rid of him. And then when this is what he decided to do. I'm gonna bring in select people on different days because I can't go every day. I can't go 5 days a week with Max Kellerman because Max is beating me and then telling the world, I just got you, Stephen A. Now what? So he got rid of Max. So he brings in Shannon on Monday. He brings in Michael Irvin on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He brings in Mad Dog on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Because he couldn't go toe-to-toe with people who know sports better than him, because he's talking about players that have left the team. So on too often, too regular. Stephen A. Smith makes a lot of errors, which is why I don't like to watch him anymore. Because he don't have, he's so spread out.
Right,
he's so spread out.
Right.
He don't know his stuff. His core.
Wait a minute. Let me come to his defense for a moment.
Defend him.
Wait,
lately in the last few years, he has been making mistakes. When he was with Skip, he couldn't make mistakes because he was singularly focused. But once Skip left, and there was so much pressure on Stephen A. to keep that show number one, because they said that show would go downhill, and it was all on Stephen A. And they brought Max in, and Max is an intellectual.
Yeah.
So you need someone. You kind of need someone like Shannon Sharp. If he had brought Shannon Sharp right in, I think that was a match made in heaven.
No,
but Shannon Sharp
that'd have been too black.
And then it's like
okay. All right. So you know what, Lynn?
Because Shannon Sharp was on CBS. You know why he left? Because his big lips was getting him in trouble on CBS.
I mean, first and forehead.
His Benjamin Crookism was coming out on CBS.
All right.
CBS said, "Nah, we good," and he ended up. He started at ESPN. He was at ESPN before he went to Skip.
I thought Sterling was at ESPN.
They were both, but Shannon was there, and then he went to be with Skip.
You know what?
Because they were able to create that same 1-2 dynamic over the sports show. But Skip decided Skip was disrespectful to Shannon Sharp. I thought Shannon Sharp was going to. I thought he was going to whip his ass a couple of times.
Listen,
on live television.
When Skip left and when Shannon joined Skip on Fox, I stopped watching First Take.
You started watching Skip?
I want to watch Skip and Shannon because Skip knows how to talk to black men. He can say
Yeah,
stuff.
But then he messed up with Shannon.
I know.
He messed
and you
up
know
with
what?
Shannon.
Disrespectful. He got
Yeah,
to me with Stephen A. Smith.
Shannon wasn't having it.
Stephen A. Smith is loud.
Right.
And then you talking about Mike. He's like you said, an intellectual. He done got hit upside. What? Oh, he done got hit upside the head boxing. He knows about sports and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to be loud when you're an intellectual. But Stephen A. is also very entertaining. But then you can tell when he gets into the entertaining mode where he's not speaking any kind of facts or truth. He's just spewing shit and trying to be cute.
Yep.
Loud and he's flashy. But then when you come to somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about, but then when you pair Stephen A. Smith with Skip Bayless, like you were saying, Stephen A. Smith was making mistakes, but when he's with Skip Bayless is the one that's kind of making mistakes because he's trying to identify and show that he can see the Black point of view and all these different things, when in actuality he couldn't because he's not that. And it was like, in my opinion, Stephen A. was playing whack-a-mole with Skip. But then when you get to somebody like Mike, it's different. And then he gets with Shannon, he gets to get cute because Shannon does not sound like an intellectual because of his accent, and he's a big Black, so you get to play back and forth.
Yeah, but with Skip Bayless, factually, he don't make mistakes. That man has a photographic memory.
He's like an encyclopedia when it comes to
it. He'll get caught up on it. And then
when you look at
when Stephen A. would catch him on something, he like blow it up because Skip cannot be wrong, and that's where like your arrogance and your ego and stuff.
Fair enough.
And listen. He wanted to keep Stephen A. on there because he was so entertaining. Sometimes people they like the loud, but it's just like not all the damn time. It's like calm down.
But let me ask y'all this. According to what they've said and understanding the spheres that they're running in, is it more likely that Stephen A. believes the stuff that he's said about the Black women, or former officer Tatum? Who does he? So is Stephen A. just doing this as a caricature so he can make the money, continue to make the money come in, or does he believe what he's saying? Oh, and Tatum, is this his foundational belief of to where it looks like he just hates himself because he's coming with
Tatum. Yeah, Tatum is a major self-hating person to begin with. I like every time I've seen this guy in a MAGA hat, it blows my mind. It's like the Black guy dressing up in a KKK uniform, like Kanye did. It's
about that embarrassment.
Yeah, and it's so like I see that and I'm just like, you can't take this man seriously. He's supporting the guy who is spearheading taking away his rights. When it comes to Stephen A. Smith, first and forehead, he is the type of person that he's entertaining, and that's great, and we love hearing how entertaining he is. And yeah, he has some hot takes. It's just he should have stayed out of politics because he doesn't understand what he's talking about a lot of the time.
But here's where I make it. Here's where I do a subtle disagreement. Subtle. We tell people in this country that you have their freedom of speech to choose your career, and if a person wants to do sports during the day and do something else as a side hobby at night, we're supposed to encourage people to do that. So when I see people starting sports and then they go off into something else as a side hustle, I think that's really incredible. And when I've heard him talk in politics, he talks as well as any politician. Does he necessarily have to know exactly what he's saying on everything? No, because a lot of these politicians, they claim to tell you they know exactly what they're talking about and be lying to you the whole time. So I'm gonna cut them some slack on that.
But where should the bar be set when people are given a platform like that?
Well, I thought in this country your freedom to be stupid peacefully, to be arrogant non-violently, to be from the East Coast and be able to run it and entertain without inciting violence, or from the West or from the South or from the North. I thought that was one of our great freedoms in our freedom of speech.
It is. We have the freedom to be stupid, but the responsibility not to make other people stupid.
So that responsibility to not make other people stupid. If you go down south and ask certain people about stupidity, they'll tell you, Keith, that me and Mr. Glass and Stephanie Lynn, we are the very subject matter of being stupid because of what race we are. So that idea of being accountable for stupidity is very subjective. So that's why when I look at Brandon, you said about Brandon being self-hating. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I won't call him a self-hater. So, if he came on the show, and he's defending about the mysterious death of Nolan Xavier Wells, I'm going to ask him really one question. When you went down to Mississippi, were you paid to go down there? Did you speak to anybody in law enforcement or to the boys' families? Did they pay you any type of money? And whatever answer he gives, because I know he won't give me a direct answer, I say, you know what? That's all I need to know.
Who is this?
Brandon Tatum.
This is Brandon. Okay, Brandon Tatum. Yeah.
I wouldn't have any more questions for him. Stephen A is different. If I was to sit down and talk with Stephen A, I think I'd be kind of talking to Lynn, because they would be able to tell me behind the scenes about a lot of things that maybe they couldn't say out in the open. So if I was to meet Lynn in person, he said, hey man, come over here and sit down. Let me run this at you, some off the record stuff that I can't say on a phone call or on a Zoom. And then you can kind of see my mindset. And then I would share him some things that I can't say on record, off record. Then I can say, well, here's my mindset. Maybe we share some similarities. Maybe we don't.
And that would be respectable, as long as the first thing y'all didn't do was run to Fox News to begin to have an interview.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with Stephen A, you were asking about if he thought this stuff was
News Nation too.
If you thought that Stephen A was just saying this stuff, when it comes to him speaking of females, and this is just from my point of view, I do not represent all females in the world, or look, even only in this house. But my spidey senses tell me that since he is a person, and we don't know all this business, every now and then he'll allude to a female in his life other than his family members, but the majority ain't knocking on his door. I'm not saying he ain't getting no play, but I think there's something there other than the females in his family. He may have some type of issue or resentment that he has to deal with. That's the way I feel when he speaks. And I met him in person before.
Okay.
But this was so long ago, I didn't even know that he was Stephen A. Smith. But he was at a luncheon for
basketball moms,
NBA moms, NBA basketball moms.
Okay.
And I said, that's gotta be him. When I kept thinking about, and then I saw him, kept seeing him on TV, I was like, I know that dude, because he was so loud. I don't hate him. He has a gift for gab or whatever. Sometimes you're talking loud and you're talking long and all this kind of stuff. He doesn't say much. Right. And then he starts adding his little, extra, like you said, a character, personalities or whatever, nuances into this just to make it funny and just to make it loud and to throw people off. So he's not saying much. And I think that he uses that, but then some people are shocked. No, can you believe he said that? Or can you believe this so-and-so is saying? I mean, white people looking at him. He's entertaining, right? And then Keith and Lynn, when you were talking about Steven, that's his name, Steven, off of Django. When you describe that other guy,
my boy.
And then he said, you mean you want me to go? You gonna let these black so-and-sos come here and sleep on them white folk sheets? Yeah. So that's definitely self-hate. And anybody that is like that, and you were talking about somebody dressing up like the Klan. I don't ever Kanye. Duh, that's another person who needs help.
Well, slavery was a choice, right?
Yeah, see?
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen the skit with Dave Chappelle as a black Klan?
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. I did see that actually.
And he don't know he black.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But anyway, that's what I think. I don't hate him. I actually I dare use the word pity, but I feel sorry for him.
I don't hate Stephen A. Smith, but I mean, Hedward Littlehands needs to chill out.
Like, but wait a minute. Here's my thing about this. He believe everything he says about people, and I think Stephen A. does believe what he says, but he's coming from a place of offering a different opinion. When Brandon Tatum says things about black people, it's kind of in a sense, it comes from a place of hatred for himself.
Oh, for sure.
Man. But when the National Association of Black Journalists decided to give him a thumbs down, do you think that possibly they could have called him and said, hey, we're thinking about giving you a thumbs down and we're going to let you know ahead of time?
No, because people should do the right thing because it's the right thing. They should say the right thing because it's the right thing, not because they're afraid of the consequences or whether it benefits them.
And then with the National Association of Black Journalists, I am sure with all those journalists that what he said over the years, somebody has said something to him.
Okay.
All those reporters and all, somebody has said, not on record or whatever. Probably like, hey man, you know, you kind of, but he probably like brushing off, y'all just whatever, whatever. I'm pretty sure somebody said something to him. So I look at it as a nice tap. We told you.
Well, but so listen to this. When black people have different opinions than the majority of the black group, because I know I have different opinions than the majority of the black group on some issues, not all.
Which would be what, like, for example, what?
I don't believe that black people should be Democrat or Republican, but I know a lot of black folks are going to be Democrat, and then a few are going to be Republican. I'm not giving neither one any love or respect.
So what do you think? What do you think? And do you think that's productive? You know, if black people vote neither Republican nor Democrat, you end up with Republican leadership like what we have now, because you know it's voting for other doesn't win elections. So black people voting for other instead of one of the two major parties, they're voting basically to have no representation.
So you know what? And I'd rather have no representation and still exercise my right to vote than someone to tell me that I have to use my freedom of speech to support one of their two options. I don't believe that. I'm not choosing. Hold on, Mr. Ross. I'm not choosing the lesser of two evils. I'm following my conscience on what I feel is the right thing to do. And if I don't feel the Democrats or the Republicans are the right thing to do, and I go to a third, fourth, or fifth option, which a lot of why the swing voters have gone up dramatically, who have left both parties, well, then that's what I'm going to do to create long-term substantial change in this country.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that we are I'll rephrase that. Do you think black people are in a better position now than when Biden was in office, or a worse position?
You know, I'm not sure. You know the answer. Richard, we know the answer.
Richard, don't do that.
Richard, we know the answer.
Do not be a demagogue.
This is where you play yourself, Richard. You already know the answer.
Yeah, because it seems
because wait a minute.
One or the other, you straddle the fence, and then
Richard,
you always
because when I don't listen.
Let's just hold it,
Mr. Ross.
Let's keep it.
Mr. Ross, I'm showing you a clear-cut example.
Let's keep it.
When I don't say things that other black people want me to say. Now, listen. When we were arguing about, listen to this. When we were arguing about Nolan Xavier Wells, because Lynn thinks it's been just an accidental drowning, and I say I strongly disagree with that. We don't have all the evidence. Because a lot of black people would agree with me and disagree with Lynn. But on this situation,
we're talking about, hold on, Richard. This is where I keep bringing you back to this word. Belief.
Okay, belief. Right.
When you
ask me, when Mr. Ross asked,
based on the information that I've looked at, that he drowned accidentally.
Hold on, that is fine, and I've disagreed with you with the information that I believe. That I've been given, because we don't have enough information to really make a determination anyway.
Of course we do.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. That
we don't. Okay, well, let's
have a belief. Your belief can change with the evidence.
All right. So to get back to
He'll be back. I think he got a phone call.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So to get back to what he said, when black people have an opinion within the black community that may be a minority, sometimes other black people will assault them. And this is where Stephen A is actually correct. When you say some things that other black people or a majority of black people disagree with you on, so when a black person says something that a majority of black people disagree with him or her on, they're going to question him. But sometimes it's kind of in how you say it. And how he went after Jasmine Crockett and Serena Williams, it was kind of harsh. It was kind of being, because I jumped on him about
this is who I missed that.
Stephen A. So when black people, when a black
but wait, you didn't answer my question though.
No, okay, so I'll get back to your question. I'll answer your question.
Do you think black people are in a better or worse position now?
I don't know, because if you ask me personally, Richard, are you better off today? Are you better?
I didn't say Richard. I said black people.
I can't speak for all black people. That's the problem, because I don't.
In this case, I'm uniquely equipped to do so. The answer is no.
So no. Well, hold on. Wait a minute.
He said that's his answer, Richard, not your answer.
Yeah.
That's his answer.
Right. So I'm gonna say
that's my answer too.
But you can't say anything about Keith's answer until you answer the question. They have given you what they think.
No, right.
So
I told you.
No matter what you say,
when I say I don't know,
we all have a belief
about so my belief is my belief. Well, listen to this. My belief over what Keith asked me, are black people better under Biden than under Trump? My belief is I don't know. So when I tell you
what you know, we're asking you what you believe. They're not the same.
I believe I don't know. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, well then let me help you. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. The first thing he did was come in and eliminate DEI. He gutted civil rights. They overturned the precedent for the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which was the Voting Rights Act that made black people one person instead of 3/5 of a person. Wait, we're not done yet. He's going to the Smithsonian and trying to get all the information that they're teaching on slavery removed from exhibits in black museums.
Keith, wait. On the Smithsonian, we're going point by point. You're right. On the Voting Rights Act 2, you're off a little bit. But I'm going to go back to something about the DEI.
You know what that Voting Rights Act also did? It stopped literacy tests for voting. Do you remember what literacy tests were for voting? I mean, I don't know if any of us were around when they existed, but it was something along the lines of this. Black person goes in to vote. They say, okay, we need to know that you're literate enough to vote. So how many judges are there in the state of Mississippi? And if they get the answer wrong, they don't get to vote. If they get it right, they tell them to name all of them. If they name all of them, they just keep coming up with questions until they say, okay, you're not qualified to vote. Sorry. And then they would pull out, if they couldn't stump them, because they were too knowledgeable, they pull out a jar of jelly beans and they say, tell me how many jelly beans are in this jar. No. And if you get it wrong, you don't get to vote. That was what stopped that.
I'm going to let Richard actually answer the question, and then we got to hop off. We got to hop off after you answer the question.
I'm depending on you. I'm depending on to know what Rich or Black man.
Wait a minute, hold on. Keith, wait a minute, hold on. Keith's trying to talk to me about black folks and voting, and then that's like me trying to tell Keith about everything in Israel. No, hold on now.
No, that's not true. I'm a student of history.
Hold on now. Hold on now. I know the history.
And by the way, you know who stood? You know who stood arm in arm with black people in civil rights? The Jews.
Yeah, and Jews also carried slaves to America in America. So let's.
That's a fucking lie.
No,
beyond.
That's not no, I have
that is a fucking lie. What you're talking about right now?
Come back later on and pull up literature from both
Jewish
sides
books
to
talking about Jewish
figure out the truth in the narrative.
Let's go back.
I want to get that answer to that question, and then we got to hop off.
Which question was that?
Are black people
better off
as a whole today better off under this administration than what we were?
And my answer stays the same. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters which president's in office.
That wasn't.
Yeah, but
That
see,
doesn't
see,
think that's
Richard,
I don't
That's
know.
not
I
true.
don't know. So
Richard,
you're only saying yes
As a
they are
black
or yes they're
man,
not.
Richard,
You're telling me
as a
to
black
choose
man.
the right or the left. That's what
No,
you're forcing
That's
me
not
to
what
do.
they're saying.
That's not what we're saying.
Richard,
It's-
you do know.
It's very simple. Are
Go ahead,
black
Keith.
people better off now than they were under
And
Biden?
I told you I don't know.
I-
You want to
Are you
say
better
that?
off? Are
I
you
accept
better
your
off?
You want to
answer.
check the
Just
black
fine.
unemployment numbers?
Are you better
I-
off?
Say it again.
You want to check the black unemployment numbers?
What do the black unemployment numbers say?
Oh, that
We're
we're
not better
horribly
off.
off.
Okay.
That we
Well,
not only are we not
if
only
you're using-
are we
if
are
you're
we off
using-
by
well, wait a minute.
in
Keith, if you're
employment
using-
standard, it's not just employment, it's overall quality of life at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, my quality of
And
life
it-
hasn't
and-
gone up or down with President
No,
Trump.
no, no. So again, I accept your answer. I accept
Yeah.
your answer. I'm simply stating what's being shown, what data points are actually proving, right?
Yeah.
From especially from black women being fired from it's fired. They were fired from federal positions, which is one of the places that we dominated.
Right,
Black
but
men being
but
fired.
again, let me answer Keith on that point about when he talked about the DEI issue, because he's correct on this. Let me answer that question.
No, I
Yeah.
thought we were going. No,
when-
we're wrapping it up after your answer to your question.
Yeah,
Your answer is you don't know.
So
let's
he
wrap
rifles.
this up.
He
Let's
he.
wrap this up.
All right. So I'll wrap this up by
Wrap it
saying
up.
this,
Richard,
Keith.
Since you
Keith,
don't know.
Richard,
Keith-
you're giving I'm not black, I'm OJ right
Right.
now. And
No.
No,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't give the
Richard,
because
I can't
see,
listen to
that's
you
disrespectful.
if you don't know.
that is not disrespectful.
That is
I can't listen to
disrespectful.
you if you don't know.
Keith,
You not,
see,
you
Keith,
did
you see how these black folks are
disrespectful.
jumping on me because I'm not giving the answer they want me to give. You see how they're doing me?
I mean,
You see how they're doing me?
I mean, it does sound like my name is Richard Brown, and
Richard
I'm
Lewis
not
Brown.
black. I'm pigmented.
No, that's not true. Because
See color.
Keith,
I don't see
Keith.
color.
We're gonna start calling you
Keith.
Richard Ruckus Brown.
No, and
You're gonna
but
call
you
you
know
Richard
what?
Ruckus
But you know
Brown.
what, Keith? But you know what, Keith? If you noticed, I'm not even upset because
I
here's
know.
what here's what I do know. Here's what I do know. Tonight was an amazing conversation.
It
We had
was.
some strong agreements. We had some minor differences. But here's what I do know. I told them that when they were trying to put Trump in jail, the Democratic Party, and they were using black women to do it, I said, if this
To put
man-
Trump in jail?
oh, they gonna put his ass in jail. Back in 23, when they were trying to put
He
his ass in
he
jail.
should have been in jail.
Okay,
He should have been in
so-
jail a long time ago.
Oh, okay. So when they were trying to put
And
him
he's
in
an
jail,
adjudicated rapist who got his
Oh.
sentence commuted
He wasn't a
because he won the
rapist.
presidential
Keith
election
Ross-
due to
Keith
Elon
Ross-
Musk.
Keith
Yeah,
Ross,
well,
he was convicted of sexual assault. So again, that's the key word, sexual assault. Because when George Stephanopoulos said rapist, he had to pay some money for that. ABC had to pay a fine for that. He wasn't convicted of rape of sexual assault of Eugene Carroll.
Eugene Carroll.
Now I want to go back to that DI situation because that's a great point, Keith Ross. Because the Smithsonian and that slavery, that upsets me too much. So I walk away from that because you're absolutely right on that. But that DEI is interesting because when those black women were trying to put him in jail at the behest of the white liberal Democrats, I said, if y'all fail, because I don't like what y'all guys are doing, if you fail and this man wins the White House, every black person that has a job in America that he can get rid of, he is. And so he's doing exactly what he said he was. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this.
We got to wrap it up. We got to wrap it up because we had 3 hours and I gotta.
I'm sorry. All right. Well, keep that. Come on next week. We'll
Right.
finish out.
Yeah. I got class. I got class.
Yeah, I got you.
in the morning.
It was
But-
a great conversation because we agreed on more than we
Absolutely.
thought we would.
It was. I'm shocked.
But you know what, Keith? If you and I really had to sit down off record, and talk about some things that we can't talk about publicly on record, we would probably, both you and I would probably be like that black boy and them 3 Jews down in Mississippi. We would be murdered.
Hey, and we might get an opportunity to do that.
I don't really
in
know what you're
January.
referring to, but
No, don't Mississippi when they went down for the voting stuff.
I know the story, but
Yeah.
I don't really understand the context so much.
because we're not supposed to talk. They don't want
Yeah.
certain people talking and building a consensus.
Who doesn't?
A lot
The
of people.
powers that be don't want that.
But we gotta go, and we might be able to make that happen in January. I plan on being in California this round.
Well, where is he at in California, Keith Ross? Where is he at?
Keith's not in California.
I'm not in
He's
California.
You're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Florida.
Okay.
I don't know why I can only hear you.
Which you? Which
Richard.
you?
Richard.
Oh, he can only hear Richard.
Yeah.
I think that's by design. So Richard can answer this question. Is that why you? Is that
I
why
don't know
you,
what I'm missing right
the
now.
operator thing with switches?
Oh,
Well, hey, as always, I appreciate y'all for hopping on and everybody for listening for as long as you have. With that being said, we'll be back with y'all again next week. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.
R.I.P. Dolly Parton.